Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. When you are in Shinigami, you will become stronger if you pick up attributes. Chapter 61. Oh, you're awake. Hearing Madarame Makaku's weak voice, Kurosaki Ichigo turned to look at him. Madarame Makaku looked up. He sees Kurosaki Ichigo standing with another Shinigami in a death suit. Yo, Kurosaki Ichigo said hello. I found the happy mood of my partner, and let him be a little friendly when facing Madarame Makaku, the defeated opponent. Ichigo, why are you still there? Kurosaki Ichigo didn't answer directly. Instead, he took Madarame Makaku's Zanpakuto in his hand. Oh, it's the first time I know. Liberated Zanpakuto. When the owner is unconscious, it will return to its original form. Quote. Madarame Makaku stared. As a member of the 11th team, they have already engraved a rule into their bones. That is, Zanpakuto, no outsiders' horns are allowed. Zanpakuto is the weapon, is everything, is the tool to kill. But it is not a toy that can be used for others to appreciate. My Hozukimaru, you fool, give it back to me. I will not take your Zanpakuto. I just borrowed your hemostat. However, after you and I have used it, it's all gone. Quote. There was excitement on Kurosaki Ichigo's face. The current Kurosaki Ichigo may look mature, but he is still only 15 years old after all. Unless it is the kind of person who is so vicious as the ultimate, otherwise he will not kill. But Lin Yway, who was beside him, smiled helplessly. When Unohana Retsu left, she was clearly unhappy. Otherwise, he wouldn't even have healed Kurosaki Ichigo and Madarame Makaku. Moreover, no wound medicine was left behind. Madarame Makaku looked up hard and glanced at his body. On his body, as expected, the wound was covered with wound medicine. However, your medicine is really useful. Only then did Kurosaki Ichigo say the last sentence he wanted to say. Okay, Ichigo, stop playing. It's important to save Rukia. Quote. Lin Yway really couldn't stand it any longer. For the members of the 11th team, Kurosaki Ichigo's behavior is undoubtedly an insult to the 11th team. Take the knife and heal the defeated generals. If these messages are known by Zaraki Kenpachi, I am afraid that Zaraki Kenpachi will kill Madarame Makaku. In the original book, Madarame Makaku felt grateful to Kurosaki Ichigo because he walked between life and death once. But even so, he never said that after he was defeated by Kurosaki Ichigo, he was robbed of Zanpakuto, and he was rescued by Kurosaki Ichigo before he came back to life. Lin Yway took Madarame Makaku's Hozukimaru directly from Kurosaki Ichigo's hands. Put Hozukimaru next to Madarame Makaku. Hey, Madarame Makaku, right. We won't talk about this matter. Pay attention to yourself. You are recovering slowly, we have to go first. Quote. Finished. Lin Yway is about to pull Kurosaki Ichigo away. If Rukia Kuchiki can be rescued before Rukia Kuchiki is executed, maybe Eisen Sosuke won't be able to get Hogyoku. Lin Yway is also curious about Hogyoku. Just such a small thing has become the target of everyone. Eisen Sosuke wants to surpass Shinigami with Hogyoku. Ichimaru Jin wants to take Hogyoku back to Rangaku. Urahara Kazuki hoped that Hogyoku would be well preserved in Rukia Kuchiki's body. Even the center of this world, the Spirit King, maybe want to get Hogyoku back to mend itself too. True Shinigami version, a bloody case caused by a stone. Lin Yway also wanted to know. If he can get Hogyoku, can I rely on the power of Hogyoku to make myself stronger? Therefore, being able to disrupt Eisen's plan is naturally the best. After being reminded by Lin Yway, Kurosaki Ichigo also remembered what the real thing was this time. He hurriedly followed, wanting to continue on the road with Lin Yifang. By the way, rescue the Shiba Griffin who has gone to nowhere. Ah, by the way, I also need to ask where Rukia Kuchiki is. When I was about to leave, Kurosaki Ichigo suddenly remembered. No need, I know, right in that white tower. Lin Yway pointed directly at the tall white tower standing in the middle of Jingling Court. I've already asked. Rukia Kuchiki was transferred to the white tower yesterday. However, the road ahead is not so easy. We need to keep going south. Then I passed by the office of the 13th Division of Gote. To the west of the office is the tall tower. That is. Next, we may meet the captains and vice captains of all the squads except the 3rd, 4th, and 5th squads. Kurosaki Ichigo snorted coldly. His eyes were full of fighting spirit. No matter what team captain it is, I will defeat them. Then save Rukia, especially Rukia's big brother, that guy named White or something. I'll beat him to the point where he's looking for teeth all over the place. How dare you treat your sister like this? Finished. The two began to prepare for their journey. And many more. Madarame Makaku suddenly shouted and stopped the two of them. What happened again? Kurosaki Ichigo turned to look at Madarame Makaku on the ground. Madarame Makaku had a strange look in his eyes. Just now you said, you were here to save Rukia Kuchiki. That's right, Kurosaki Ichigo replied confidently. Ha 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 ha. Hearing this answer, Madarame Makaku couldn't help but burst out laughing. The misfortune of traveling from the present world turned out to be to save Rukia Kuchiki. It was so easy to control himself not to laugh. He asked again. How many of you are there? 6 people plus an animal. Kurosaki Ichigo, who has never seen Yoruichi turn into a human, naturally counts Yoruichi as an animal. As for the 6 people, it's even better. Lin Yway, Kurosaki Ichigo, Ishida Ryu, Inoue Orihime, Sato Yasutora, Shiba Ganju. Exactly 6 people. An animal. Ha 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 ha. Hearing this, Madarame Makaku couldn't bear it completely. He laughed maniacally. Even the wounds on his body burst open due to the violent movements. Ah, it hurts. The wounds on his body are all open. But, if you want to save people, go save them, it has nothing to do with me anyway. Correct. Who is the strongest among you? Forehead. With Lin Yway by his side, Kurosaki Ichigo is ashamed to say that he is the best. He had no choice but to look at Lin Yway. Turning his head away, Kurosaki Ichigo found Lin Yway pointing at him. Kurosaki Ichigo is the best of us. After answering Madarame Makaku's words, Lin Yway added another sentence in his heart. Except me. What? Knight, Yoruichi doesn't count. In fact, it is not wrong to say that Kurosaki Ichigo is the strongest. His natural spiritual power has already surpassed everyone. If it weren't for Yhwach's power of Quincy to restrain Shubai's power, I am afraid that Kurosaki Ichigo would have become the strongest person in the world the moment he was born. Of course, this kind of strongest comes at a price. The price is that Kurosaki Ichigo will lose his mind and go into a state of rampage because he cannot control his power. It's also hard to say whether Yhwach's Quincy power and Kurosaki Ichigo's power to suppress Kurosaki Ichigo are a good thing or a bad thing for Kurosaki Ichigo. But anyway, Lin Yway felt that there was nothing wrong with saying that Kurosaki Ichigo was the strongest among them. He has a clear conscience. Anyway, I didn't say that this is the strongest, it is calculated according to the power that can be used. Yes, after Madarame Makaku got the answer again, he slowly closed his eyes. Then, Kurosaki Ichigo, you have to be careful with my captain. He's only interested in strong characters. If you two are right, then he'll be after you, Kurosaki Ichigo. Quote, hearing Madarame Makaku's words, Kurosaki Ichigo's expression finally became serious. Is he great? Madarame Makaku quickly flashed the figure of Zaraki Kenpachi and his past achievements in his mind. In the end, I couldn't find a suitable description to express the power of Zaraki Kenpachi. Only to Kurosaki Ichigo. You'll know it when you see him. But that also depends on whether you can still live before you know how powerful he is. Talking. A look of visible fear appeared on Madarame Makaku's face. For Zaraki Kenpachi's insane appearance of fighting endlessly, even he can't help but feel a little afraid in his heart. Although I haven't seen the captain in Madarame Makaku's mouth. But words like Madarame Makaku have already put enough pressure on Kurosaki Ichigo. On his forehead, a few drops of sweat were visible to the naked eye. Although he boasted that he wanted to make Rukia Kuchiki's big brother look good. But in the bottom of his heart, Kurosaki Ichigo is still very aware of his own strength. Rukia Kuchiki's big brother is a captain-level existence. If it does happen, all Kurosaki Ichigo can take advantage of is his courageous momentum. As for whether you can beat Rukia's big brother, then we can only wait and see. After all, Kurosaki Ichigo has never played against Rukia Kuchiki's big brother. Only in Lin Yui's description, I heard how fast he is. But Madarame Makaku. But I have fought with him personally. To beat Madarame Makaku, Kurosaki Ichigo was injured. And how powerful is the captain who made Madarame Makaku show such a fearful expression? What's his name? Captain of the 11th squad, change the sword. Leaving Madarame Makaku to recover slowly on his own. Lin Yway and Kurosaki Ichigo started running around anyway. They're going to find the Shiba Griffin. When falling from the sky, Kurosaki Ichigo and Shiba Ganju fell together. Since we came together, then we will go back together. That's what Kurosaki Ichigo had in mind. Friends and family are what he wants to protect. As for the others, it has nothing to do with him. Approaching towards the south while looking around, in order to prevent it from spreading again, the two of them did not search in the same direction, but together. The path of Jinglingting is much more complicated than that of Rukongai. The whole Rukongai is run through by several main roads, with some narrow side roads. But in Jinglingting, the intricate roads are constantly interspersed. For first-timers like Lin Yway and Kurosaki Ichigo, it's easy to get lost. Finally, Kurosaki Ichigo couldn't help it. He shouted to the sky. Griffin, where did you die? If you're here, set off a firework and let me know, you idiot. Shouting loudly can undoubtedly vent the chaos in my heart. Just finished shouting. Lin Yway tugged at Kurosaki Ichigo's clothes with his hands. Kurosaki Ichigo turned his head and looked in the direction pointed by Lin Yi's sign. It turned out to be a few Shinigami in Shiba costumes gathering there to smoke. Those Shinigami were also staring at Kurosaki Ichigo in a daze. It seems that I didn't expect it to be such a coincidence. Obviously they don't want to catch the accident at all, they just want to find a place to hide and rest, and go out when the matter is over. Result: this misfortune actually came to the face. Oops, I seem to have exposed us. Kurosaki Ichigo also said something to Lin Yway in embarrassment. Found it. It's a trip. Still too. As long as we kill him, we will be meritorious. The group of Shinigami reacted instantly. With excitement on his face, 747 jumped up from the ground, and rushed towards Lin Yway and the two of them. Not good. Icky, let's run. Kurosaki Ichigo immediately prepared to run away. But Lin Yway stood there without moving. I've been running away, so annoying. Lin Yway didn't expect it either. How could he go against his decision in this world so quickly? Originally, he just wanted to quietly follow Kurosaki Ichigo to pick up attributes. But it really came after Soul Society. He realized that things were far from what he thought. Kurosaki Ichigo, almost every time he meets someone, he will choose to. Only when it is really impossible to escape, will there be a frontal battle. Although he also roughly understands in his heart. This is the choice Kurosaki Ichigo made to preserve his physical and spiritual power. But being chased all the time is still annoying after all. Especially, not so long ago, one not threatened by Unohana Retsu. This made him even more depressed. Tisk. Lin Yway directly pulled Zanpakuto Fengwa out of the scabbard. It happens that I am very angry, so I will use you to calm down. Hello, daycare. You wait by the side for a while. When these people are resolved, let's go to Ganju. You need to reserve your physical and spiritual strength to face the enemies that may appear later. Then I'll clean up these miscellaneous fish for you. Kurosaki Ichigo froze. He had never seen such an expression on Lin Yway's face before. In the past, everyone's impression of Lin Yway was modest and humble. But at this moment, his face is clearly full of arrogance and domineering. It's like a different person. Not much for Kurosaki Ichigo to think about. Lin Yway had already rushed towards those Shinigami in an instant. Among these Shinigami, there is not even a seat officer. It's all just some team members. Lin Yway wanted to defeat them, but also in the blink of an eye. Soon, Lin Yway walked back with Fengwa in his hand. And those Shinigami have been knocked down and passed out on the ground. He glanced at the engravings on Fengwa Dao, nodding with satisfaction. At this time, the carving pattern has already bloomed by 1/3. Boom! Suddenly a huge firework flashed in the sky. Lin Yway returned to his previous good old man again. Ichigo, it seems that Griffin is pretty smart and knows how to set off fireworks. Then we'll find him. What? Let's go then. Quote. Kurosaki Ichigo replied subconsciously. When the two were on the road again, Kurosaki Ichigo couldn't help but look at Lin Yway. After hesitating for a long time, he finally couldn't help asking. Icky, just now, why does your personality seem to be a different person? What? Oh, probably because I'm going to Hollow. Quote. Between Eisen and Ichimaru Jin. Hollow. Kurosaki Ichigo froze for a moment. What is this? Is it like before when he changed from an ordinary soul to Hollow? But wouldn't that just create a white mask and lose my mind? Lin Yway's appearance doesn't look like he's lost his mind at all, does he? He looked at Lin Yway curiously, his eyes full of puzzlement. Icky, why are you always able to say a lot of words that I haven't heard before? I see. Did the clog hat secretly tell you? Clog hat, so many things haven't been told to me. Lin Yway smiled. No explanation was given to Kurosaki Ichigo. Just said slowly, anyway, you'll know later. Okay then. Look, Lin Yway has no intention of explaining now. Kurosaki Ichigo is not the kind of person who breaks the casserole and asks the end, so he simply didn't continue to ask. In his simple worldview, Lin Yway has always stood by him, and he is a good friend, and he will definitely not harm him. In the future, they will fight side by side until everything subsides. If Lin Yway knew what Kurosaki Ichigo was thinking now, he would probably just smile and sigh in his heart at Kurosaki Ichigo's simplicity. Fighting side by side, maybe. However, according to his accumulated dissatisfaction with Jinglingting, he still doesn't know whether this fight side by side is two people fighting against foreign enemies together, or Kurosaki Ichigo and Lin Yway fight shoulder to shoulder. Soon, following the fireworks, the two found Shiba Ganju. Shiba Griffin pinched his waist proudly. What, Kurosaki Ichigo, I took out a Shinigami myself. Shiba Griffin proudly showed off his record to Kurosaki Ichigo. That is, his opponent is a Yasugawa Yumashika. As long as it is replaced by someone else, it is estimated that Shiba Griffin will not win. A Yasugawa Yumashika is the 5th seed of the 11th team. But in fact, his strength has already surpassed that of ordinary officials. Even his Zanpakudo, the weapon named Vine Peacock, is really nothing more than a false name. The real name is Lisei Peacock. He has the 3rd seat, and is also the combat ability of other team captains and vice captains. Just out of respect for Zaraki Kenpachi, Kusajishi Yakiru and Madarei Makaku from the bottom of my heart will hide their own strength. He even took the initiative to give up the 4th seat, willing to do so because the 4 are not good. In general, a Yasugawa Yumashika was able to be defeated by Shiba Ganju. On the one hand, it is because of hiding his strength, on the other hand, it is also because of his carelessness and that fatal flaw. Beauty. A Yasugawa Yumashika didn't want to continue fighting when he and Shiba Ganju fell into the garbage. He just wants to go back and take a shower. Just let it go into the sea and let Shiba Griffin beat him. It's just that, except for Lin Yway, no one else knows about these things. Even if Lin Yway wasn't there, he still remembered this passage clearly. Looking at the arrogant and inflated appearance of Shiba Ganju, Lin Yway was going to teach him a lesson. He first smiled and praised Shiba Ganju. Gary, you are amazing. I heard that your opponent is the 5th seed of the 11th team, and is a very powerful enemy. You were able to defeat him with almost no injuries. It seems that you should be the most deceitful person among us besides Jaihu. Shiba Griffin raised his head high in an instant. Hey, of course, I am the manliest man in West Rukongai. Enemies of this level are nothing more than trifles. Even if the vice captain comes, I won't be afraid. Following what Shiba Ganju said, Lin Yway nodded hastily. Exactly, that would be great. Now with you here, we can be bolder. Griffin, let's set off fireworks while walking. Try to let Inoue, Yulong and the others see it. It's better to gather early. If you weren't here, Ichigo and I would have to rely on luck to find them. Quote. Hearing this, Kurosaki Ichigo was also a little unconvinced. Just as he was about to speak, Lin Yway glared at him. Thinking that Lin Yway was smarter than himself in the past and could come up with bad ideas, Kurosaki Ichigo decided to keep his mouth shut. As long as you can find Inoue and them, that's a good thing. F-tag. At worst, there are more enemies. Anyway, if you want to save Rukia, you have to fight with these people. Shiba Ganju was also dumbfounded. Let's go, let off fireworks to attract people. He knew it himself. It was possible to defeat a Yasugawa Yumashika through many coincidences and repeated difficulties. After defeating a Yasugawa Yumashika, it's just bragging. Why now? Is Lin Yway serious? No, don't you have bragging in this world? If this really attracted many captains and vice-captains, shouldn't it be destroyed directly? But unfortunately, Shiba Griffin has been set up by what he said just now in Lin Yway's praise. If he refuses, it will appear that he has no confidence. After thinking for a long time, he finally thought of a good reason. Lin Yway, I agree with your suggestion. However, I didn't bring many fireworks. I'm afraid I may not be able to last until Inoue and the others see it. After saying this reason, Shiba Gansu felt extremely proud. Worthy of Shiba Ganju, the smartest man in West Rukongai. To be able to come up with such a perfect reason so quickly. Is that so? Lin Yway thought about it seriously. That's easy. He tapped his palm hard. Let's find a higher place, just stand on it and let it go. It's not that Lin Yway deliberately wanted to tease Shiba Griffin. It's just money that touches people's hearts. Not to mention power. When beating those normal Gote 13 squadrons, Lin Yway picked up a ton of attributes. Maybe a single Shinigami doesn't give him enough attributes. Can't stand the quantity. From attributes, to some special attributes, Lin Yway is full. Even some Kido, he has already learned. Moreover, including Shunpo, Lin Yway also has a certain degree of proficiency at this time. He also found out, with the increase of Kido's attributes, he became more and more able to control his own spiritual power. Kido, in essence, is a delicate use of spiritual power. The increase of Kido's attributes will naturally make him more proficient in manipulating his own spiritual power. Until now, Kurosaki Ichigo, who has a weak perception of spirit particles, did not find it, nor did Shiba Griffin God Tier Sutra. If Ishida Ryu is replaced, Lin Yway will definitely be surprised. Because, Lin Yway's body has gradually begun to lose the wave of spirit particles. When you don't look at him, he may be like a stone, or a piece of wood. In short, it will not be thought of as a person. Go on like this. Even Unohana Retsu might not be able to perceive Lin Yway so easily. Think here. Lin Yway glanced at his current attributes. Lin Yway, Power 1540, Spirit 1352, Physical 1590, Agility 1482, Link C 1696, Special Swordsmanship +17, White Hits +9, Kido +19, Shunpo +2, Power of Pain +20, High-Speed Regeneration +2, Power of Destroyer +5. Kido, Shibo, the first 10 ways of Hado, the first 5 ways of Bakudo, Kaido. Take a look at the properties. Lin Yway also had to praise in his heart. These ordinary soldiers of the 13th Division of the Guardian Court, although they each have their own dishes, they do learn everything. Ordinary attribute growth, it can be seen that the physical polishing of these Shinigami is not strong. However, the most essential thing of Shinigami, Spirit Sun, and the spiritual attributes related to Kido have increased fairly well. Special attributes. Slash the fist and walk the ghost, Lin Yway is now considered complete. It's just that Shunpo's proficiency is not high. As for that particular Kaido. In fact, it is also a kind of Kido. That is, the normal classification of Kido should be divided into 4 types. Hado, Bakudo, Kaido, Special Kido. Among them, Shibo belongs to the Special Kido, and Kaido was picked up from Katetsu Azane after defeating her. Katetsu Azane, to say that the combat ability is not strong. So she doesn't drop many attributes. It was after Unohana Retsu's death that Katetsu Azane really grew up. Now, if she switches to another team, she may even be barely able to sit on the chair. Coupled with scattered ordinary Shinigami, it has created the attributes of Lin Yway today. The most important is, these attributes of Lin Yway are his basic attributes. That is, his real combat power must be doubled in terms of basic attributes. Because Fenghua is always in Shikai state. With the increase of these attributes, Lin Yway couldn't help wanting to be presumptuous once. Even if it might attract some team captains and vice captains. But by that time, relying on ordinary Shinigami and Ziguan to brush attributes, you should also be able to defeat Shinigami who do not enter the Bankai state. Shiba Griffin's face flushed red. He groaned for a long time, but couldn't think of a good way to reject Lin Yway. He had no choice but to agree. The three of them began to look for a higher place. Half an hour ago, 3rd Division office. Ichimaru Jin raised his face with his hands, and was lost in thought. Sometimes, even he himself is questioning himself, is it possible to do what he wants to do? Eisen Sosuke. This man is too perfect. On him, there is hardly any weakness to be found. And how can we defeat him and get back what Rengoku lost? Just as he was thinking, a strange-looking Shinigami suddenly appeared in front of him. Seeing this Shinigami, Ichimaru Jin calmed down instantly. Ichimaru Jin knows. This Shinigami, it is not himself who controls his consciousness at this time, but Eisen Sosuke who does not know where he is. This is the power of Kyoka Suigetsu. Even without knowing it, you can manipulate another person to accomplish what the master of Kyoka Suigetsu wants to do without knowing it. Really, this Shinigami spoke a lot as if proudly showing off to his friends. But these words are just the news that Eisen wants him to deliver to Ichimaru Jin. After listening to these words, Ichimaru Jin stood up slowly. When Shinigami left, he gently rubbed his face, making his expression weird again. Here comes the mission again. Eisen, for that little guy named Lin Yway, did he actually do this? Are you in such a hurry just because you know Hana Retsu is following him? Interesting. I don't know how you would react if that little guy accidentally died. Talking, a gleam flashed in Ichimaru Jin's narrowed eyes. In an instant, he restrained his edge again. It turned into that lazy look again. He strode out of the office of the 3rd team, which would not be monitored, and walked towards the office of the 5th team with a mocking face. Eisen Sosuke, didn't you say you were going to stare at me? Then I'll let you keep an eye on it. Captain Ichimaru Jin. Please leave my 5th Division office. Hey, I won't leave, do you still want to do something to me? Then I can, act first. Shoot him, Shinso. After a while, Hana Retsu rushed over quickly, and the team captain who hadn't finished the task around also quickly separated the two. As soon as they parted, Eisen Sosuke quickly apologized to the people around him. Sorry, I was a little impulsive just now. While speaking, he gently raised his glasses for a while. Ichimaru Jin's face was full of sarcasm. Oh, that's all. After speaking, Ichimaru Jin turned around and left. The task has been completed, there is no need to continue here. Wait until Ichimaru Jin leaves. Eisen Sosuke thanked the captains around him like a well-trained old man. Then looked to Hana Retsu. Captain Hana, why are you here anyway? In order to face the travel disaster, you still need to continue to sit in the 4th team. Please go back, just like the image he played in the past. Old-fashioned, good-natured, de Wonghao, gentle, sunny, and the most quiet and lingting rules. The three of Lin Yway finally found a slightly higher place. After Shiba Ganju made a super-sized firework, he released it directly. Then the three of them came down from the high platform. Waited around. The brilliant fireworks in the sky were naturally seen by the rest of the people. Immediately changed direction and rushed towards this side. But the teammates saw it, and the enemy naturally saw it too. A little farther away, Zaraki Kenpachi, who was getting farther and farther away from Kurosaki Ichigo and others because of Kusajishi Yakiru's guidance, slowly raised his head. He was so impatient that he directly tore down the wall and hurried on his way. Now I finally regained my spirits. It seems that these travel accidents are very confident. Finally, found them. Boom. The wall facing the direction of the fireworks was smashed by him in an instant. Zaraki Kenpachi stuck out his tongue and licked his lips, his face full of frenzy about the fight. After setting off the fireworks, the first side effect appeared directly every time it was used. The three of Lin Yway are on a passage, blocked by two groups of Shinigami on both sides. Seeing these Shinigami, the corners of Lin Yway's mouth twitched slightly. This is his real purpose. Ah! Looking at the vast crowd, Shiba Griffin finally couldn't help but shouted out. So many Shinigami. Hey, Kurosaki Ichigo, hurry up and defeat them. What, Griffin, why do you seem to be scared? Faced with so many Shinigami, Kurosaki Ichigo also has a lot of pressure in his heart. But he still pretended to be indifferent, and taunted Shiba Griffin by lightly digging his ears with his fingers. But Lin Yway began to get excited in his heart. Ichigo, let me do these. Save your energy, both of you. After finishing speaking, he quickly pulled out Fenghua, secretly rushed towards these Shinigami. Lin Yway quickly attacked these ordinary soldiers. Soon, just killed it directly. The fallen Shinigami piled up directly into mountains. Standing in front of Lin Yway, there was only one Shinigami who looked very thin. Then, you wouldn't be a travel disaster, would you? Lin Yway didn't answer, just smiled and looked at the Shinigami in front of him. He still has a certain impression of this Shinigami. Yamada Hanadoro, a very timid Shinigami. Affiliated to the 4th team, he is obviously the squad leader of the 14th Superior Rescue Squad of the 4th team, and also the 7th seat of the 4th team, but because of his personality, he is often bullied. Later, even if he became the 3rd seed of the 4th team, he did not change his character. But his timidity and cowardice are just his usual way of doing things. A Shinigami who can choose to sacrifice himself for his fellows. I have a good impression of Yamada Hanadoro and Lin Yway. It's just that at this moment, he hasn't met Kurosaki Ichigo and others, and Lin Long can't directly say that he knows each other. He put on a fierce look, and put Fenghua gently next to Yamada Hanadoro's neck. Hey, little Shinigami, don't you see that these companions of yours have already been defeated by me? Of course we are in trouble. Boom. Lin Yway had just finished speaking. The wall around him was suddenly blasted by a beam of light. Fortunately, Lin Yui's reaction speed is also good. Immediately put Fenghua back in front of him. Since it was only a temporary reaction, Lin Yway also slid backwards for a short distance, but in the end he blocked the attack. A tall figure silently emerged from the broken wall. Sado Yasutora. Behind Sado Yasutora, there are Inoue Orihime and Ishida Ryu. Everyone who entered Jinglingting from Rukongai, except Yoruichi, has already arrived. Ichigo. Ikki. After seeing Kurosaki Ichigo and Lin Yway, Inoue Orihime immediately said hello. Ishida Ryu gently pushed the glasses on his face. Finally found you. We also met just now, so we came here together. In this way, all but Mr. Yoruichi are near. Quote, Inoue, Sado, Ishida. Kurosaki Ichigo was also very excited. Apart from Rukia, it was these three that he was most worried about. They chose to help themselves save Rukia Kuchiki, but they were separated early. If it was because of this, the three of them were hurt. Kurosaki Ichigo will never forgive himself. Sado Yasutora just looked at a few people, but still didn't speak. Ikki, what are you doing? Ishida Ryu glanced at Lin Yway. I don't know when 980, Lin Yway has returned to the side of Yamada Hanadoro, who was about to escape quietly, and put Zanpakuto on his shoulders again. Nothing. Just found a guide. Quote, Lin Yway didn't look back either. Compared with meeting with Ishida Yuryu's people, he still looks forward to how many attributes he will pick up next. The fallen ordinary Shinigami soldiers around him still gave him a lot of messy attributes. But the most critical attribute of Spirit Seeds still hasn't broken through 2000. In Soul Society, among those Shinigami at the captain and vice captain level, there are very few spirit sub-attributes below 2000. If such attributes continue, I still don't know what to do. Lead the way. Yamada Hanadoro people are already stupid. He's the Shinigami of Jinglingting, so it's not good to lead the way for Luca, right? And these travel disasters look terrible. Lin Yway was stunned for a moment, and then Zanpakuto retracted slowly. Mouth warning Yamada Hanadoro. We are here to rescue Rukia Kuchiki, don't you think about running away, you understand. The appearance of Yamada Hanadoro is undoubtedly a good thing for Lin Yway. He is familiar with the entire underground passage of Jingling Court. With his leadership, it is bound to be able to reach the White Tower earlier. If Rukia Kuchiki can be rescued earlier, maybe Eisen Sosuke's plan will be broken. Save Miss Rukia. Light gradually began to appear in Yamada Hanadoro's eyes. He suddenly sat up on his knees, and bowed seriously to Lin Yway and the others. This time, everyone was shocked. Everyone stared blankly at Yamada Hanadoro. Why? We should be enemies. Kurosaki Ichigo forced himself to calm down and questioned Yamada Hanadoro. Yamada Hanadoro lowered her head, her eyes gleamed with softness, admiration, and perhaps a touch of admiration. He talked about his relationship with Rukia Kuchiki. For Yamada Hanadoro, the appearance of Rukia was never like a ray of light. After speaking, Yamada Hanadaro gently closed his eyes. When he opened his eyes again, his eyes were full of fighting spirit. He pointed to the white tower in the distance. Since you want to save Miss Rukia, the destination should be there. Palace of Confessions. I know a shortcut. The 4th Division BBCI Team Comprehensive Rescue Station. Here is the place where the 4th team is specially used to save patients. It is different from the humble square that Lin Yway arrived before. There are more complete facilities here, and there are more medicines for treatment. A large number of members of the 4th Division are here to treat Shinigami of other divisions. Madarame Makaku, just after being discovered, was sent here for treatment. At this time, he was lying on the bed with his eyes closed. Standing beside his hospital bed are the captain of the 12th Division, Kuretsuchi Mayuri, and the vice captain, Ni Yinmeng. Ha 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 ha, it seems that you are not willing to say anything. Kuretsuchi Mayuri's appearance is strange, and her voice is also a bit gloomy. He is asking Madarame Makaku, wanting to know the purpose and destination of the trip. Use this to judge whether you want to participate. When these travel accidents entered Jinglingting, the impact from the impact of the soul membrane made the reiatsu of those travel disasters bloom briefly. At that moment, he felt the funny reiatsu. It is a reiatsu who wants to catch the opponent and study it. This is embarrassing for us, captain of the 12th Division. This kind of quasi-combat behavior is prohibited in the camp. Outside Madarame Makaku's ward, a member of the 4th Division was a little scared, but in order to maintain the rules of the comprehensive 9th Rescue Center, he could only hide half of his body outside the wall and reminded him. Worry. Kuretsuchi Mayuri tilted his head, and shouted at the 4th team member. From his hand, he shot a spiritual power pill and hit the wall, leaving a semicircular hole in the wall. Lord Neri. Nirvana's soft opening also wanted to remind Kuretsuchi Mayuri. Don't talk too much, straight dream. Just shut up, do you still want to be quartered by me? Kuretsuchi Mayuri turned his head in an instant and blocked Nirvana. It's just, compared to Madarame Makaku and the 4th team player. This obviously sounded very bloody words, but when Kuretsuchi Mayuri said it, his voice became very soft. Rather than blocking Nianmeng, it seems like coaxing a child he loves. It's just that Kuretsuchi Mayuri's cognition is different from ordinary people. Nianmeng lowered her head slowly. Yes, I'm very sorry. Nirvana didn't seem to respond to the pervert words in Kuretsuchi Mayuri's mouth. He just obediently admitted his mistake. Madarame Makaku watched the scene from the corner of his eye. I became more and more disgusted with Kuretsuchi Mayuri in my heart. Exactly. Except for the 12th Division, the other divisions all have a certain degree of fear of Kuretsuchi Mayuri. Although the 12th squad has created many useful props, Kuretsuchi Mayuri's attitude of treating life as an experimental object is enough to make everyone fear. In his eyes, people seem to be no longer people, but just guinea pigs for experiments. This kind of indifference to life, whether it is a person, will have a physiological disgust. Think about it. Madarame Makaku opened his mouth and said. It's not that I don't say it. It's that I don't know the purpose, destination, or other things of those trips at all. Quote. Kuretsuchi Mayuri turned back and looked at Madarame Makaku. His lips had already been cut off by himself. The white teeth are leaking out, it looks like a clown, but it can always make people shudder. Then what's going on? As soon as you encounter a travel disaster, you draw your sword and fight, get no information at all, and then just come back defeated. Is that so? Exactly. Madarame Makaku didn't even look at Kuretsuchi Mayuri anymore. By the way, I didn't even see what the enemy looked like, nor did I hear his voice. So I can't tell you anything. Quote. Kuretsuchi Mayuri's fingers twisted erratically. He was very angry. In this case, then you have to accept the punishment you deserve for dereliction of duty. Talking. Kuretsuchi Mayuri raised his hand. Just when he was about to put his hand on Madarame Makaku's body and punish Madarame Makaku with various tools suitable for various punishments transformed under the skin, a spiritual force suddenly stopped him. Ahem. Kuretsuchi Mayuri, since when did you have the right to punish people from other teams? Cough cough. Quote. Kuretsuchi Mayuri turned to look towards the door. At the door, a thin man with white hair came in slowly while coughing. Kuretsuchi Mayuri narrowed his eyes slightly. Captain of the 13th Division, Jashiro Yukitaki. How will you be here? Jashiro Yukitaki looked like he was dying of illness. He coughed forcefully a few times. Slowly glanced at Madarame Makaku on the hospital bed. I came here to get the medicine for this time, and I just happened to meet you doing something to other team members. Kuretsuchi Mayuri, do you want to violate the rules of Seraiti? Kuretsuchi Mayuri was a little bit reluctant. But facing Jashiro Yukitaki he still didn't do anything. Over the years, as Jashiro Yukitaki has become weaker and weaker, no one dares to do things in front of Jashiro Yukitaki. He has very good popularity in Jingling Court. If you do something to him, you don't know what the consequences will be. Taking a deep look at Madarame Makaku, Kuretsuchi Mayuri finally chose to give up. Yinmang, let's go. Wait until Kuretsuchi Mayuri is gone. Only then did Jashiro Yukitaki wave his hand at Madarame Makaku. Yijiao, take a good rest, I'm leaving too. Yes. Thank you Captain Jashiro. Jashiro Yukitaki just shook his head and didn't say anything. Wait until Jashiro Yukitaki leaves. Madarame Makaku completely fell silent. He looked at the ceiling in front of him. Madarame Makaku smiled when he thought of Kurosaki Ichigo fighting him. Kurosaki, Ichigo you have to be careful. When you fight me again, you become even stronger. That kind of Reiatsu. The captain must be very excited, right? Zaraki Kenpachi frantically knocked down the wall. On his shoulder, Kusajishi Yakiru is also shouting loudly and cutely. Xiaojian, come on, come on. We'll find it right away. The smile on Zaraki Kenpachi's face grew wilder. What? I can feel the taste of battle. Come on, fight me hard. Lin Yway and others have followed Yamada Hanadoro into the underground waterway of Jinglingting. Although it is a waterway, it is not dirty. The lives in the Jingling Court are already souls. If they don't use yike, they won't need to eat and excrete like humans. In the entire waterway, only some sundries in the Jingling Court were discharged outside the Jingling Court. But it is these sundries that are despised in Jinglingting, but on Rukongai, they can become treasures to be scrambled for. Oh, it's pretty clean. Kurosaki Ichigo couldn't help but praise the clean waterway. His original intention was to praise the cleanliness of Jingling Court. Although this time I came to Jinglingting to save Rukia Kuchiki. But for Seraiti, Kurosaki Ichigo has no bad impression either. At least, none of the people he met were bad guys. Lin Yway silently glanced at the stream of water with some discarded items floating there. Heart Chunin couldn't help sighing. Under this cleanliness, how much filth is hidden. This is Jingling Court. Throw out everything they think is bad. But those things that were thrown away by them have become treasures in the eyes of the residents of Rukongai. Such a severely divided system. It is entirely because of Shinigami's combat power that one person surpasses countless ordinary souls that they have been able to maintain it for thousands of years. Duh. If you want to change this phenomenon, what should you do? Yamada Hanadoro scratched the back of his head embarrassingly with his hands. He didn't know what Lin Yway was thinking. It was only after hearing Kurosaki Ichigo's praise that I felt a little shy. It's because we clean this place every day. Then, he just talked about how low the status of the 4th Division is in the entire Gotei 13th Division. Just because they don't have the ability to fight. In the eyes of Shinigami from other teams, the 4th Division doesn't even have the qualifications to be called the Gotei 13th Division with them. Hear the words. Lin Yway pouted secretly. That is, Unohana Retsu did not reveal her true nature. Otherwise, I will kill you all. Everyone chatted and hurried on their way, but they didn't look bored. Although the underground waterway is rugged and winding, no one will come out to stop it after all. After all, the speed is faster than above. Only after hearing Yamada Hanadoro tell about Rukia Kuchiki during this time, Kurosaki Ichigo's expression became more serious. The original joy of finding a companion also slowly disappeared. Rukia, silently read the name of Rukia Kuchiki in my heart. Kurosaki Ichigo frowned and did not speak again. Relax. At this time, Lin Yway suddenly patted Kurosaki Ichigo on the shoulder from behind. What? Kurosaki Ichigo froze for a moment. Lin Yway pointed to the center of his eyebrows. Your brows are already wrinkled so obviously. Relax, we are here to save Rukia Kuchiki. Relax before the fight, so that the muscles will not be stiff due to too much tension during the fight. We will rescue Rukia. Quote, soon. They went to the exit. Yamada Hanadoro observed first. The surrounding area was filled with white mist, and people could not be seen clearly even a little further away. After confirming that there was no one else around, he led the crowd to surround him. No problem, no one around, you come up. This is the nearest exit to the tower. While talking, Yamada Hanadoro climbed out first. Behind him, Kurosaki Ichigo and others also lined up to climb up. Shiba Ganju took a deep breath exaggeratedly. What? It's been a long time since I breathed the air above. Yamada Hanadoro pointed to the towering white pagoda not far away. Look, that's the Palace of Confessions. An hour ago, almost all the vice captains gathered in one place for a meeting. Along with the report on the battle situation, the expressions of all the vice captains became serious. In such a short period of time, Madarame Makaku, the third member of the 11th team, and Ayasagawa Yumashika, the fifth member of the 11th team, were defeated. He withdrew from the battle line because of serious injuries. This is undoubtedly bad news for these vice captains. It's just that Kusajishi Yakiru, the vice captain of the 11th team, is not here, and it's hard for them to express their opinions. I can only listen silently. Until the report mentioned that the 11th squadron was completely annihilated. The vice captains finally couldn't hold back their voices. The 11th team. No way. The 11th team is a dedicated combat team. How could it be almost wiped out so quickly? Abarai Renji's expression was not very good looking. Compared to these vice captains around him. He knew in his heart who these so-called travel accidents were. But it is also because of knowing who these travel disasters are and what their purpose is. It made his heart suffer even more. Obviously, he is the one who grew up with Rukia Kuchiki and supported so many together. As a result, he became the one who killed Rukia Kuchiki, and those friends she met in this world who were only 2 months old, took such a big risk to save her. He gritted his teeth hard. The complex emotions in my heart are like a messy ball of thread, and I can't find a clue. Finally, Abarai Renji made a decision. He wants to find those travel disasters. Find Lin Yway and them. See what they have to save Rukia Kuchiki. If their strength is not enough, then let them go back. At this time, Rukia can't hear any more bad news. Because of the influence of Lin Yway, the original 4th seat of the 7th Division, Yiguanbansalufang, the younger brother of Saidanfang, did not meet Ishida Ryu and was crushed by Ishida Ryu. The vice captain of the 7th squad, Kazan Tetsuziman, didn't speak either. But the rest of the vice captains were still discussing intensely. Standing behind all the vice captains, originally were Hinamori Momo and Abarai Renji. As Hinamori Momo, who has been familiar with Abarai Renji for a long time, she subconsciously turned her head and wanted to chat with Abarai Renji to vent the tension in her heart a little. Things are getting serious, Abarai. But turn around. Hinamori Momo just found out. Abarai Renji, who was supposed to be standing behind her, was gone. Only the back door was shaking slightly, showing that people had just left not long ago. Looking at the Palace of Confessions not far away, that is, the White Tower. Shiba Griffin raised his hand and put it on his forehead, slightly covering the sunlight that he was not used to. It's really close. This is really spectacular. I think the road ahead will be even more difficult. Quote. Everyone looked at the Repentance Palace not far away. That's their destination. The fog is gradually dissipating. Lin Yway spoke suddenly. Only then did everyone find out. The white mist that was still pervasive and almost invisible, now gradually sees the road not far away. Move. After hearing what Yamada Hanadoro said about Rukia Kuchiki, Kurosaki Ichigo's expression was very ugly. Now it is even more anxious to urge. Inoue Orihime and Ishida Ryu looked at each other, and followed silently without speaking. It can be seen that Kurosaki Ichigo is indeed a little anxious. He has been walking in the forefront, although the speed has not increased, but something can be seen from his striding steps. Lin Yway easily followed behind Kurosaki Ichigo. Such speed is nothing to him. He just looked forward to it. If the original plot is followed, Abarai Renji will come out to stop it immediately. The current Abarai Renji is not him in this world. Abarai Renji, who has completely lifted the seal, is still not the strongest group of vice captains in terms of strength. But after all, it is still much stronger. As stipulated by the Soul Society. Captains and vice-captains from the Soul Society to the current world will automatically put a mark on a certain corner of their bodies. This mark is used to limit their power. The power they can exert in this world is only about 20% of that in the Soul Society. The judgment of this imprint is divided into two types. The first type is the identity of captain and vice-captain. The second type, calendar sales at the captain and vice-captain levels. Although Abarai Renji has not reached the level of vice-captain in the traditional sense in terms of strength. But with the status of vice-captain, he was still marked when he came to the present world. Just don't know, at that time, what choice will Abarai Renji make? Still fighting with Kurosaki Ichigo, the real initiator who saved Rukia Kuchiki? Still, choose the self who once beat him. Haven't walked a few steps yet. Kurosaki Ichigo stopped suddenly. What's wrong? Shiba Ganju asked nervously. There seems to be someone on the steps. Kurosaki Ichigo frowned, looking seriously at the steps not far away. It's just that the fog that hasn't dissipated completely still blocks a lot of vision after all. It made him a little unclear. Hado 1, rush. Lin Yway stepped forward suddenly. Stretching out a finger, the enchanted caster unleashed one of Hado, rushing. Whoosh, whizzing, whoosh whoosh. The wind brought by, Chong, quickly blew out a space without white fog in the air. In order to quickly clear up the white mist in front of you. Lin Yway deliberately used Chong several times. Although the surrounding white mist is constantly being replenished. But after all, everyone could barely see the person on the steps. Abarai Renji. Standing on the steps is none other than Abarai Renji. After seeing the person clearly, the anger in Kurosaki Ichigo's heart burned instantly. There is no Rukia Kuchiki left in this world, let Rukia Kuchiki be taken away. Has always been a big influence on Kurosaki Ichigo. Resentment, anger, self-blame, guilt. All kinds of emotions kept roaring in his heart. It's just that he can only disguise himself with a smile, suppressing this emotion. For who can he blame? Sato Yasutora, Inoue or Ahime? Neither of them even knew at that time that Rukia Kuchiki was taken. Ishida Ryu, facing the unfamiliar Shinigami, he dared not make a move, and Kurosaki Ichigo understood it very well. So, Lin Yway, do not. Lin Yway has even beaten Abarai Renji. What reason is there to blame him? So who can be blamed? It's him, Kurosaki Ichigo. It is because of this that Kurosaki Ichigo will fight Urahara Kazuki in a frenzy for 5 days after completing the recovery of Shinigami power. Just because he wants to be stronger. Even if it's just a little stronger, it's better than doing nothing. Among those who came from this world to the Soul Society to save Rukia Kuchiki, only he, Kurosaki Ichigo, is the one most responsible for bringing Rukia Kuchiki back. When Rukia Kuchiki was in this world, he ate and lived with him. He even faced Shu with him and taught him how to fight. Protect Karakura town, protect relatives and friends. And now, it was time to guard her, Rukia Kuchiki, but Kurosaki Ichigo failed. This anger, finally at this moment. When I met Abarai Renji, who once defeated him, Kurosaki Ichigo, I was completely released. What a surprise. You even remember your name. It's really not bad. Abarai Renji walked down the steps slowly, walking in the direction of Kurosaki Ichigo. Who is he? Shiba Ganju whispered to Yamada Hanadoro beside him. But Yamada Hanadoro was too scared to speak now. In the end, Lin Yway gave an answer. Abarai Renji, the vice-captain of the 6th Division. Deputy captain. No wonder the Reiatsu felt in him was completely different from the guys I met before. Kurosaki Ichigo moved too. He also walked slowly towards Renji's direction. As he walked, his hand also touched the Zanpakuto Zangetsu on his back. Abarai Renji looked at so many people ahead. Ask for flowers. There is something complicated in my heart. There was nothing he dared to do. These people, but came to do it. We can't let them die here in vain. Now that I've made this villain, then let me continue to be the villain. I am willing to bear all the sins. Rukia, even though you may always blame me. But I'm going to stop them here too. Because I don't want to see you crying over the death of your friend anymore. The expression on Abarai Renji's face became more ferocious. Thank you for the compliment. Kurosaki Ichigo also had a cold expression. He already doesn't want to lose to Abarai Renji again. He no longer wants to feel that powerlessness, that feeling of watching his friends being taken away. The two got closer and closer. Abarai Renji is still trying to hint at Kurosaki Ichigo, so that Kurosaki Ichigo chooses to leave. I always thought you were killed by Captain Kuchiki's attack. After all, Soul Sleep and Lock Knot have been destroyed, but no one has ever been able to live. Quote. Hey, wait, Ichigo. After Shiba Ganju realized the identity of Abarai Renji, he quickly shouted. During this period of getting along, he felt more and more that Kurosaki Ichigo was not the Shinigami he imagined. Coupled with the fact that he is an enemy of Shinigami of Seraiti, Shiba Ganju has already recognized Kurosaki Ichigo and others as his friends. He is a little worried about Kurosaki Ichigo. Oh. The opponent is the vice captain. Lin Yway stretched out his hand and stopped Shiba Griffin. Let him go. Some things need to be solved by himself. What? Shiba Griffin didn't quite understand the meaning of Lin Yway's words. Instead, he became angry. Hey, what are you saying? The opponent is the vice captain, the vice captain. Are we going to let us watch Ichigo get killed? There was a smile on the corner of Lin Yway's mouth. Vice captain, so what? Don't underestimate Ichigo. Not to mention, if you don't let him go, it will make him even more sad. Hearing Lin Yway's words, Shiba Griffin probably also understood. There must be something else between Kurosaki Ichigo and the vice captain in front of him. He no longer shouted to stop Kurosaki Ichigo, but silently worried about Kurosaki Ichigo. Ishida Ryu, Inoue Orihime and others also looked at the back of Kurosaki Ichigo worriedly. But they are both from this world, so they naturally already know what happened between Kurosaki Ichigo and Abarai Renji. So even if they were worried, they didn't open their mouths to stop anything. Ah, yes, Lin Yway, is that the name? Sudden. Abarai Renji turned to look at Lin Yway who stood motionless in the crowd. Lin Yway froze for a moment. Heart said, did Abarai Renji still decide to fight with himself? But Abarai Renji seemed to just call his name. I have had a profound influence on you. The one who knocked me down after Kurosaki Ichigo fell. What, did you stop shooting for Kurosaki Ichigo this time? I am enough. Kurosaki Ichigo was afraid that Lin Yway would be angered by Abarai Renji's words, so he chose to shoot directly. At the same time, it is also Kurosaki Ichigo who has always been praised by Lin Yway that he is stronger along the way, and thus has a protective psychology. He didn't give Lin Yway time to speak. Instead, he replied directly to Abarai Renji. Laugh. Abarai Renji sneered. Continue to look at Kurosaki Ichigo. Although I don't know how you survived, this is indeed remarkable. That's it. I should have said that already. I'll kill whoever takes away Rukia's abilities. As long as you are alive, Rukia's abilities will not be restored. Kurosaki Ichigo also became angrier the more he listened to Abarai Renji. The guy who said that if he killed her, he would take her away, what qualifications do you have to say such a thing? Now, she is about to be executed. The two approached quickly. Just when the two were about to get closer, a voice suddenly sounded from the side. Vice Captain Abarai, you are here. Oh, have you found the travel wreck? Shua, what? Kurosaki Ichigo and Abarai Renji stopped at the same time. The two turned their heads in an instant and looked in the direction of the sound. The visitor held a handful of zanpakuto in his hand. He is more than 2 meters tall, and there is something like a rosary hanging around his neck. Oh, how did you stop, Vice Captain Abarai? Are you worried about other people? It doesn't matter, those people, leave it to me. With your support, I think I will be able to kill all those accidents here. He took a serious look at everyone except Kurosaki Ichigo. After sensing that their Reiatsu was not strong, an ugly smile appeared on that flounder-like face. Yiguanban Silufang, how will you be here? Abarai Renji's pupils constricted for a moment. The person who came turned out to be the 4th seed of the 7th division. At the same time, he is also the younger brother of Sidan Fang. Although the reminder is not as tall as Sidan Fang, the height of more than 2 meters still brings a lot of deterrence to people. The most important is, his character is not as pure and kind as that of Sidan Fang, but he is bullying and fearing hard. Since he was able to say the words to kill all the others, he must have sensed that among the companions of Kurosaki Ichigo present, there is no one stronger than him. Aburai Renji just wanted to drive away Kurosaki Ichigo and others, but never thought of letting them die here. He hastily shouted, "You are not needed here. You can go to other places, and I will solve these travel disasters." Yiguanban Silufang just smiled slightly with a bit of sarcasm. It is obviously a fan team that is good at fighting, but it turns out to have such a weak vice-captain. He can't look pleasing to the eye. If that's the case, why can't he be the vice-captain? Vice-Captain Aburai, what kind of joke are you talking about? Aren't all the travel disasters here? It turned out that 147 just saw that there was a lot of fog here, and wanted to gamble on luck, but I didn't expect that it actually happened to me. It seems that my luck is really good. Quote, talking. Ichigo Sakajirobo glanced warily at Kurosaki Ichigo, who was standing in front of Aburai Renji. The constant reiatsu emanating from Kurosaki Ichigo made him slightly wary. Vice-Captain Aburai, the orange-haired brigade is in your hands. Let me help you get rid of these miscellaneous soldiers. When the time comes, it will be fine for the two of us to share equally. Oh, I forgot, you still have credit for catching the criminal Rukia Kuchiki. It seems that the time for you to be promoted to captain is not far away. Quote. Aburai Renji is constantly stimulated by the consistent Sakaji Lufang. Although he himself didn't know what kind of stimulation these words would have on Aburai Renji. For a person like him, as long as he can go up, there is nothing he can't give up. If someone says now, Saidanfang has become a sinner. As long as he is arrested and executed, he can be promoted to the deputy captain. Yiguanban Silufang will definitely lead a team to arrest Saidanfang himself. Not for anything else, just because I am afraid that others will take the credit. Aburai Renji squeezed the back of Zabumaru's hand, and the veins popped up one by one. Because of this incident, his heart was already suffering as if he had fallen into hell. The deputy captain, who was a little familiar with him, would not mention this matter in front of him. Can now, a mere fourth seat. Amir Yiguanban Silufang actually said such words in front of him. But the identity of the deputy captain made Aburai Renji dare not move. Even if he really wanted to attack Yiguanban Silufang, he could only endure it. Gritting his teeth viciously, he turned to look at Kurosaki Ichigo. Kurosaki Ichigo, it looks like you have to tell your companions to be careful. Kurosaki Ichigo just sneered. I think it's better to tell your companions to be careful. Ikki, Inoue and the others, I leave it to you. Lin Yway. Suddenly called by Kurosaki Ichigo, Lin Yway was dumbfounded. Isn't this Guanban Silufang the opponent of Ishida Ryu? How did you get assigned here? Lin Yway, who watched the show with a face all the time, had no idea at all. Compared to Ishida Ryu, who secretly trained himself. Having shared special training experience with Urahara Kazuki, coupled with the continuous elimination of the players of the 11th team along the way, Kurosaki Ichigo has a certain degree of trust in his strength. He hasn't fought with Ichigo Sakajirobo yet, and Kurosaki Ichigo doesn't have the sensitivity to detect the strength of spiritual power. He can only tell the strength of an opponent by his size. With such a body shape, he was even more afraid of Ishida Ryu being defeated. That's why Lin Yway was let in. His name has already been called. Even if Lin Yway doesn't want to make a move, there is nothing he can do. He had no choice but to walk out from the crowd. Ichigo, you are really giving me trouble. In fact, this kind of enemy, let Ishida come. Quote, Ishida Ryu froze for a moment. Hey, Ikki, what do you mean by that? Ah, sorry, I didn't mean to look down on you. I mean, this big tall one is really just an embroidered pillow. Hey, ha 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 ha. Listen to Lin Yway and Ishida Ryu singing together. Yiguanban Silufang couldn't help laughing. It's interesting what you say. Since you think I am an embroidered pillow, let's try it. But, Yiguanban Silufang originally wanted to say who would be his opponent, but he chose it. But look at the softest persimmon Inoue Orihime is standing with everyone else. Ban Silufang's usual bullying and fearful character broke out again. Compared with a group of people gathering, it is better to stand alone and bully. So, when the words came to his lips, Yiguanban Silufang immediately changed his words. However, I hope you can live a little longer. My Zanpakuto, but the strongest flying type Zanpakuto. You will be cut into pieces by me. Quote, talking. Yiguansaka Silufang put his hand on the tip of Zanpakuto's knife. Raise your wings and fly high, Pawu. His hand pressed down quickly. But there is no Zanpakuto piercing the palm. But when his palm fell, the blade changed, turned into a flying blade all over the sky. The flying blades like mosquitoes even dyed Yiguan Bansilufang's body a little black. There is only one handle left in Yiguan Bansilufang's hand. His thick lips seemed to turn upwards. Probably laughing. Well, feel free to regret it. Forget it anyway. After all, after killing you, there are other people waiting for me to deal with. I'd better kill you quickly. With the flying blade appearing in the air. Because of the arrival of Tongsaka Jilufang, he did not fight against Kurosaki Ichigo, but the pupil of Abarai Renji who was confronting each other couldn't help but gritted his teeth. He wanted to shout out the words to tell those people to leave quickly. Yiguanban Silufang. But because of this Zanpakuto, it is called Kama Itachi. The so-called sickle weasel is the fairy in the wind. Even those who are attacked by the sickle Itachi will not see the sickle Itachi. I just felt a gust of wind blowing, and countless wounds appeared on my body. But Abarai Renji forced himself to turn his head, facing Kurosaki Ichigo squarely. Kurosaki Ichigo, come and fight with me. Let me see how much you have grown during this time. Kurosaki Ichigo didn't worry about his comrades behind him at all. Or, in his opinion, Lin Yway will definitely beat this big tall guy. This is his trust in Lin Yway. I must go. Kurosaki Ichigo yelled and rushed towards Abarai Renji with Zanjetsu in hand. Then try it. After Abarai Renji entered the fighting state, he didn't get distracted to look at Yiguan Bansilufang. What is the result? Live or die, depending on the companions of Kurosaki Ichigo. After the two started fighting, Lin Yway sighed. He watched Yiguan Bansilufang unleashing flying blades all over the sky, but he laughed. Is this your Zanpakuto? The so-called strongest flying system Zanpakuto? Sickle Weasel Silufang. It's ridiculous. Quote, talking. Lin Yway slowly pulled out her Zanpakuto Fangwa from her waist. On Fangwa at this time, the original flower bone carvings have become half-opened. Even the individual petals became clear. The entire blade was originally very sharp, but now it seemed to be flickering, emitting a faint metallic luster. It seems to be reflective, and it also seems to be brought by itself. But for whatever reason, on this seemingly unremarkable Zanpakuto, Yiguansaka Silufang felt a sense of danger. It is this intuition that allows him to live to this day with a character of bullying and fearing evil, and he has become the fourth seed of the seventh team. Wait. Yiguan Bansilufang wanted to change his opponent in an instant. But how could Lin Yway give him a chance? While talking in his mouth, he quickly rushed in the direction of Yiguan Bansilufang. What a weasel. Others call you Kama Itachi, but because your Zanpakuto will come back quickly, but it will only cut through the skin forever, and will not cause any harm. Seeing Lin Yway's speed, the usual small pupils of Bansilufang shrank even tighter in an instant. This is Shunpo. Why would you, a Shinigami from this world, use Shunpo? Yiguanban Silufang quickly controlled the flying blade and came to him. There is still a distance between him and Lin Yway. Unless it's the very superb Shunpo, or shining flower. Otherwise, it would be impossible to come to him in an instant. As a user of the flying sword, Yiguan Bansilufang is very aware of his weaknesses. That is himself. In the past, all enemies who fought against Yiguan Bansilufang, especially those who were familiar with him, would be defeated by him. This is because those who are familiar with Yiguan Bansilufang know it. The big brother of Yiguan Bansilufang, Saidanfang, is a man of heaven and earth. Even if he doesn't have Zanpakuto, many Shinigami who have Zanpakuto are still not his opponents. As the younger brother of Si Danfang, although his body shape is not as scary as that of Si Danfang. But everyone will still suspect that Zanpakuto of Yiguansaka Silufang is a scam. What kind of scam? Lie to him. Then he will use himself. That powerful force will directly defeat the opponent. Therefore, the enemies of Bansilufang are always keeping a distance from him. It was also for this reason that they were all defeated by Pawu. Seeing creatures taller and bigger than oneself will cause fear, so they don't want to approach them. This is the self-preservation instinct that no matter people or animals will have. But Lin Yway, as if he didn't have this kind of instinct, rushed directly towards Yiguan Bansalufang for a while. Chop him. Chop the crow. Bansalufang has always pretended to be calm. As a Shinigami, but also a seat officer. Of course he also knows how to shunpo. Although because of his size, his shunpo practice is not as good as the average Shinigami. But in Yiguan Bansalufang, no matter how bad shunpo is, it is impossible for a half-baked Shinigami to catch up to him. He quickly dodged his position. At the same time, he controlled the flying blade to form a knife net in front of him. Attempt to use this knife net to directly chop Lin Yway into pieces. All the people who faced my split black did not survive. You are no exception, die for me. Yiguan Bansalufang drank loudly. Lin Yway was getting closer and closer to the knife net. But looking at his appearance, there is no intention of dodging. Seeing this scene, the corners of Rigwansaka Silufang's mouth twitched instantly. So it is. You half-fake Shinigami, just learned half-fake shunpo. Can't control the direction and pause at all. If that's the case, then you will be turned into a meat paste under my chopping crows. Way, smelly Shinigami. Behind Lin Yway. After hearing Lin Yway's words, Ishida Yulong and others couldn't help crying out in worry. The expressions on their faces also became extremely tense. Inoue Orihime couldn't help covering his mouth with his hands for 0.1 bars. Everyone had a question in their hearts. Why did Lin Yway rush over in such a daze? Is it true that he really has no way to control his direction and pause like what Yiguan Sakajilufang said? DJ, if this continues, I'm afraid Lin Yway will really be crushed. Those knife nets made up of spinning flying blades are even more terrifying than ordinary meat grinders. Yiguan Bansalufang smiled triumphantly. He is waiting. After waiting for the complete body of Lu Huan to pass through his black knife net, he was directly stripped into a skeleton. Can't you even see the speed of rotation of the flying blade? It doesn't matter, after you become a spiritual child, you can take a good look at it. Stab, stab. The sound of tearing came from the blade net of flying blade. Because the number of these flying blades is too large, no one could see what happened in the flying blade. The only thing that could be heard was the continuous sound of the cloth being torn. Ishida Ryu couldn't help closing his eyes. He spoke softly. It seems to be talking to himself, and it seems to be speaking to Inoue Orihime beside him. Starting today, I added another reason why I hate Shinigami. Although I don't want it to continue to increase anymore. Quote, Sado Yasutora also clenched his fist silently, although he didn't say anything. But on the skin of his right arm, black and red are constantly intertwined, as if to form the giant's right arm at any time. What? Inoue Orihime suddenly called out. Bring everyone's attention back. Look, is that Ikki-kun? Chapter 71. Suppressing Abarai Renji. What? Ishida Ryu hurriedly looked up. I saw that the knife net that was originally composed of flying blades had broken a big hole at this time. And Lin Yway, holding Zanpakuto in his hand, rushing towards Ikikansaka Silufang. There was still a somewhat sickly smile on his face. The deadly domineering outfit on his body has become tattered. Drape strips on his body. Through the gap between the pieces of the dead bull outfit, you can also see Lin Yway's body covered in wounds. The Shiba outfit itself is a black and white battle suit. But the white part of Lin Yway's Shiba costume has been dyed red. It's all his blood. Finally, Lin Yway came to Guanbansalufang. He raised his head slightly and looked at Yiguan Bansalufang. Puff. 2 knives. 2 consecutive knives quickly pierced Guan Bansalufang's body. One of the knives had already pierced through his knot. That is the engine of spiritual power. One by one soul loses the knot, then he no longer has the ability to control the spirit. The spirit sun made by Poyao can keep him alive, but since then lost the eligibility to become a Shinigami. The flying blade in the sky fell to the ground instantly. Finally formed a sealed state. Lin Yway looked at the wounds on his body that had begun to heal in the deadly costume. The essence of the deadly costume is spirit particles, but basically there will be no permanent damage. No matter how severe the trauma is, the Death Tyrant will recover with the recovery of spiritual power. No, why do I have to go through your sickle weasel? Yiguan Bansalufang was already in a trance. He could clearly feel that his power was losing. Even the perception of Zanpakuto is slowly fading. If this goes on, if this continues, he will only become an ordinary soul. And those who were bullied by him, how would they treat him? Number 3. Yiguansaka Silufang thought of the stupid things he said to his big brother Saidanfang after he became a Shinigami. Especially the sentence of severing the relationship. The bitterness in his heart suddenly seemed like a big hand from the abyss, slowly dragging him into it. 11. Only when he heard Lin Yui's words did he temporarily wake up from this abyss of despair. He raised his head to look at Lin Yway. There was also a hint of curiosity in his eyes. Yup, why did he go through the knife net of Pawu? Is it really impossible to hide? Do not. Of course not. After seeing that although Lin Yway had some small wounds on his body, there were no fatal injuries. Yiguanban Silufang had already given up on that naive idea. A physique like this, even if it is really impossible to achieve accurate shunpo's distance and steering, it can also be forcibly reversed by relying on physique. Especially when Yiguanban Silufang saw the wounds on Lin Yui's body, none of them showed bones. Just scratched some skin. Even the deepest wound is only less than 1 centimeter into the flesh. Some key places are completely free of wounds. This means, when passing through the knife net, he actually still has enough energy to make the key or vulnerable parts of his body escape the attack of the knife net. And, Yiguanban Silufang stared blankly. He watched those relatively shallow wounds, which were recovering automatically at this moment. Although not as fast as some virtual high-speed regeneration. But this speed of recovery has already shown how strong Lin Yui's physical fitness is. Lin Yui's voice didn't come slowly until this time. Because, I want to prove it to you. As I said, your so-called sickle weasel is only because it can only scratch some skin, and it can't cause fatal damage at all. Now, you should start to rejoice. If it wasn't for your big brother Si Dan Fang, you would have died. Quote. Finished. Lin Yway slowly pulled Zanpakuto Fengwu out of Yiguansaka Silufang's body, and put it back into the scabbard. Boom, boom. Yiguanban Silufang lost the last support of Lin Yway and finally fell down. His legs hit the ground directly. The fat on his body trembled slightly. Then his whole body fell to the ground. Pick up the attributes dropped by Yiguanban Silufang. A look of disgust flashed in Lin Yui's eyes. Compared with Saidanfang, although there are more attributes dropped by Bansilufang in general, there are more spiritual seeds and special attributes. But there are very few other attributes. What a disgrace to his physique. But it's all for nothing. Defeating Yiguanban Silufang, Lin Yway had already defeated him with almost no effort. I'm not in charge of the Yiguanban Silufang on the ground. Lin Yway walked slowly towards Ishida Yulong and the others. In the conversation with Yiguanban Silufang just now, Lin Yway did not lie. In the original plot, Ishida Ryu didn't kill Yiguanban Silufang just because of the face of Saidanfang. Otherwise, with how much he hates Shinigami, how could he keep him alive if he was going to sneak attack on Inoue Orihime as soon as he came out like Hikari Sakajirobo? As for Lin Yway, he also did the same thing as Ishida Yulong in the original plot because of the face of Saidanfang. It just broke his knot, but didn't hurt his life. However, Lin Yway didn't simply know Saidanfang for the sake of Saidanfang. Talks. Just like that day Eisen wanted to plant a seed in his heart. He is also planting seeds in the heart of Saidanfang. Compared to Eisen's approach of directly destroying Jinglingting, what Lin Yway wanted was to destroy the Jingling court from the inside first. Then lead the residents of Rukongai to recreate a new soul society. Therefore, even the ordinary souls like Saidanfang, who only have the strength of a sound, but without Zanpakuto and spiritual power, are also his secret preparations. It's just that it takes time for the seeds to germinate. By the time he reached the crowd's side, the wounds on his body and the deadly domineering costume had fully recovered. If it weren't for his face, there was still a shallow scar that was being repaired. It doesn't even look like he's just been through a fight. See Lin Yway walking back. Yamada Hanadoru's eyes flickered. He had heard how powerful Yiguanban Silufang was. But now, he was directly defeated by Lin Jun. Okay, so amazing. Seriously sensing the spiritual power of Yiguanban Silufang, Yamada Hanadoru's pupils trembled violently. Lin, Mr. Lin. Yiguansaka four-seats him. Lin Yway waved his hands nonchalantly. It's nothing, his knot has been broken by me. in this life, unless, like Kurosaki Ichigo, he regains the power of Shinigami. Otherwise, you can only be an ordinary soul. Quote, I don't care what Lin Yway said. Ishida Ryu couldn't maintain his cold image in the past. He couldn't help but patted Lin Yui's shoulder hard. The expression on his face was very serious. Lin Yway, I don't care what you're trying to prove. However, I hope you don't do this kind of thing next time. Fighting is already a very dangerous thing, why do you want to make yourself do more dangerous things on purpose? Haven't you thought about what would happen if you failed? Ishida Ryu obviously had a face that no one seemed to be used to, but in his heart, he had already regarded them all as his friends. The expression on Lin Yui's face softened slightly. He turned to look at the others. Both Inoue Orihime and Sato Yasutora looked at him with concern. Friendship. He suddenly smiled. I know, don't worry, I won't do this kind of thing again in the future. Hear this. Only then did Ishida Ryu calm down again. He pushed the glasses on his face and began to lift them up again. I'm just learning what to say if it's Kurosaki Ichigo. I will never say such words. Quote, he. Hearing this, Inoue Orihime couldn't help laughing. Iki-kun, Ishida really cares about you. Just now, even saying that. Inoue Orihime pulled his face, imitating what Ishida Ryu did just now. From today, I have one more reason to hate Shinigami. Ishida Ryu's face turned red visibly with the naked eye. Inoue. Everyone laughed for a while. Lin Yway also understood. Why are they doing this? That's real concern. If the worry about Lin Yway in my heart is not vented, sooner or later it will become a knot in my heart. If you say it with a smile like this, it's nothing. Slowly recovering from worrying about Lin Yway, everyone turned to Kurosaki Ichigo who was fighting Aburai Renji. At this time, Kurosaki Ichigo and Aburai Renji were going backwards in a collision. Exactly. It was two people who were forced by each other's reiatsu at the same time, and took a few steps back at the same time. Just got over my worries about Lin Yway. Now everyone is worried about Kurosaki Ichigo again. Shiba Ganju couldn't help talking softly to himself. Ichigo, no matter how strong you are, you will not be his opponent. The opponent is the vice captain. Shiba Ganju's voice is small, but the people around him are not so clear-eyed. All can be heard. Immediately, they became even more worried. Uncertain. Suddenly, Lin Yway spoke. Everyone looked at him one after another. As Lin Yway, who had just defeated an official, everyone believed in his judgment. Yamada Hanadoro looked even more serious. Among those present. Although he is not the sole society who came from this world specially to save Rukia Kuchiki like Lin Yway and others. But also determined to save Rukia Kuchiki. Save that beam of light that was the only one when he was being bullied all the time. He immediately turned his head to look at Lin Yway, and earnestly asked. Mr. Lin, please tell me what happened. 2. If Mr. Kurosaki really fails to defeat Vice Captain Aburai, please help Mr. Kurosaki. Lin Yway tilted his head. That is for sure, Ichigo, but our friend. Whether it's me, or Ishida, Inoue, Sato. We don't participate in the battle between Ichigo and Aburai Renji now because Aburai Renji defeated Ichigo once in the present world. Now, it's time for him to defeat Aburai Renji with his own hands to break his previous defeat. But if Ichigo appeared in danger, nor will we sit idly by. It's as if we were able to travel from one world to another to save Rukia. Ichigo is also someone we want to save. Something touched Yamada Hanadoro's heart. 123. A friend. He had never seen such emotion before. So, is this friendship? An impulse made him blurt out. Lin-jun, can I be your friend? What are you talking about, Hanadoro? Before Lin Yway could answer, Inoue who was at the side had already started talking in a feigned annoyance. You are our friend now. Do I have friends too? Woo 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 woo. I thought you were just taking me as a prisoner. Woo 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 woo. Quote. Hanadoro was very moved when he heard Inoue Orihime's words. While talking, he actually cried. Everyone comforted Hanadoro for a while before looking at Lin Yway again. For the fight between Kurosaki Ichigo and Aburai Renji, they need an analysis, a commentary. At this time, Kurosaki Ichigo and Aburai Renji have entered the stage of fighting Reiatsu. The swords of the two are together, constantly mobilizing the Reiatsu in the body to press towards each other. Lin Yway's eyes moved. He can feel it. Kurosaki Ichigo's Reiatsu is still climbing. This kind of Reiatsu is not the kind of dissipated spiritual power. Instead, it is the pressure on the air created by the Reiatsu, which can be used by Kurosaki Ichigo and can be manipulated. In other words, more and more of the power in his body began to accept his control, and added to the spiritual power that had been used when he was fighting. The current Kurosaki Ichigo has surpassed Abarai Renji in Reiatsu. Everyone knows what Reiatsu is. Hearing Lin Yway's words, he became excited instantly. They watched as Kurosaki Ichigo pushed Abarai Renji backwards with his Zanpakudo Zanjetsu. Until it hits a rock wall. Amazing. Completely suppressed Vice Captain Abarai. Yamada Hanaduro has recovered from being touched. Seeing this scene, he couldn't help but praise. It is precisely because he is a member of the Soul Society that he understands the power of the Vice Captain better. As for Abarai Renji's actual combat effectiveness among all the Vice Captains, he, the ordinary 7th seat, cannot know. So, in the heart of Yamada Hanaduro, Abarai Renji, the Vice Captain of the 6th Division, must be much stronger than the 4th seater of the consistent Bansalufang just now. But even so, they were all suppressed by Kurosaki Ichigo. Lin Yway shook his head suddenly. Not like this. What? Everyone quickly looked at him. Obviously, it is Kurosaki Ichigo who is suppressing Abarai Renji right now. Why would Lin Yway say, that's not the case? Lin Yway looked at Kurosaki Ichigo and Abarai Renji seriously, sensing the Reiatsu of both of them again. Although at the moment Kurosaki Ichigo's Reiatsu is over Abarai Renji, and pressed Abarai Renji against the edge of the stone wall. Don't forget one thing, Shikai. Quote, as soon as the word appears. Everyone understood immediately. That's right, now it was indeed Reiatsu of Kurosaki Ichigo who was over Abarai Renji and pinned down Abarai Renji. However, Kurosaki Ichigo's Zanpakudo is always in Shikai state. Abarai Renji, however, does not use Shikai Zanpakudo in his hands, from the beginning to the present. They are all in sealed state. In this case, everyone began to worry about Kurosaki Ichigo again. Inoue Orihime squeezed his hands together forcefully, his eyes widened. Kurosaki must win. After Lin Yway finished speaking, he fell silent again. It's just that he knows in his heart that it's not just like that. Abarai Renji did not release Shikai, there is nothing wrong with that. But, who said Abarai Renji is already using his full strength? He should be very hesitant now, right? Mingming and Rukia Kuchiki have known each other for more than 2 months. But was able to do anything to save her friend. As well as the self who grew up with Rukia Kuchiki, but captured her back with his own hands. Abarai Renji, what kind of psychological pressure are you enduring? Lin Yway did not say these words. I just feel a little pitiful for Abarai Renji in my heart. He didn't have the determination to resist Jinglingting, but obeyed Jinglingting's orders. He even had to watch the person he liked for so many years die in front of his own eyes. This is today's Soul Society, a place full of rules and restrictions everywhere. Isn't the so-called Guti 13th Division just after they have undergone special training, they have found a group of obedient fighters? How many of the Shinigami taught by Spiritual Arts Academy are full of rebellious spirit? Think here. Lin Yway sighed. I'll go and have a look. Finish talking to everyone. Lin Yway walked in the direction of Kurosaki Ichigo and Abarai Renji. Because of the collision between Kurosaki Ichigo and Abarai Renji just now, the two are far away from where they originally started fighting. Wait until Lin Yway gets closer. He just heard Abarai Renji's words. How are you going to save Rukia? While confronting Kurosaki Ichigo, Abarai Renji suddenly spoke. When a person exhausts all his strength, he cannot speak. Abarai Renji didn't notice at all that he had revealed the truth that he wasn't using his full strength. Fortunately, Kurosaki Ichigo's focus is not on this. His eyes became sharper. The eyes were full of determination, and the determination not to look back until Rukia Kuchiki was rescued. How to save? Abarai Renji's eyes were a little distracted. As if thinking of something impossible to do. Even if you beat me here now. There is also a deputy captain. On top of this, there are 13 captains. You won't be able to save Rukia without defeating all of us. Can you do it? Abarai Renji himself probably didn't even notice. He stopped calling Rukia Kuchiki. Because when Byakuya Kuchiki came to announce Rukia's execution date, and his resolute words in Abarai Renji's heart, he no longer had hope for the Kuchiki family. Since these days, he has been in regret. I regretted why I didn't choose to stand with Rukia when I brought back Rukia, and chose to shoot against Byakuya Kuchiki. Choose. Keep Rukia alive. He kept scolding himself again. Why are you scolding yourself for being so cowardly? He obviously wanted to rescue Rukia, but he always chose to shrink back when thinking of the other 11 vice-captains and 13 captains. At this time, he said these words to question Kurosaki Ichigo, so why not question his own heart? What should you do? Maybe, what he wants is an answer. Maybe, it's just a choice given to him by others. Of course you can. Lin Yway spoke suddenly. Abarai Renji glanced at Lin Yway out of the corner of his eye. Laugh. I remember you, Kunwei, has defeated me in this life. But so what? What do you use to defeat the rest of the vice-captains, and the captains above me? Lin Yway was silent for a while. Then he looked at Kurosaki Ichigo. No matter how many captains there are and how many vice-captains there are, our determination to rescue Rukia will not change. Those who stand in our way are our enemies. Just defeat everyone who stands in front of you. In that way, Shakia was rescued. What is this nonsense? Abarai Renji couldn't help laughing. Where does your confidence come from? Forgot to tell you guys. The captain and vice-captain of Goody's 13th squad suppressed their own spiritual power when they died. At that time, what you were facing was me, who was only 1/5 of my strength. Even so, Captain Kuchiki has already defeated you. Not to mention that now, there are no restrictions on him. With such strength, what do you rely on? What is it that makes you so self-righteous? Or, Abarai Renji glanced at Kurosaki Ichigo's Zanpakuto, who was close in front of him. Zanpakuto is different. Don't you start to become arrogant just because you have increased your strength so much. Can be my opponent at this time. Kurosaki Ichigo, I'm afraid you are already the strongest among you guys. If that's the only way, don't even try to save Rukia. Finished. A bright green light glowed on Abarai Renji's Zanpakuto. What? He thrust the knife forward sharply. It actually pushed Kurosaki Ichigo away. While Kurosaki Ichigo was still retreating in midair, Abarai Renji put his left hand on the blade of his Zanpakuto Zabumaru. Roar, snaking. A light flashed. Zanpakuto Shikai in the hands of Abarai Renji. He slammed down the sword in his hand. Zabumaru's blade split instantly. The veins made of steel bars connect each section of the blade. Ding! Zabumaru's knife head flew towards Kurosaki Ichigo in the air, but Kurosaki Ichigo quickly blocked it with Zagetsu's blade. But the impact on Zabumaru sent Kurosaki Ichigo's body flying backwards. Abarai Renji's eyes are getting colder and colder. Originally, he thought that he could see the hope of saving Rukia in Kurosaki Ichigo. But now it seems, even if he can't beat him, how can Kurosaki Ichigo have the ability to save Rukia? Abarai Renji hit hard again. The link that Zabumaru had already shrunk unexpectedly unfolded again with the force of Abarai Renji. As if it was really a snake. The previous tightening was just for this sudden force. Cannot stop. Kurosaki Ichigo could only make a tight sound intermittently, and was instantly repelled. Ishida Ryu and others who were right behind Kurosaki Ichigo quickly moved away. Boom! Zabumaru stretched far beyond what Kurosaki Ichigo could have imagined. Abarai Renji didn't take Zabumaru back until he knocked him from one end of the square to the wall on the other. It seems that you still haven't listened carefully to what I said. I've already said it. In this world, our strength is only 3/5. I am now 5 times stronger than I was back then. If you want to defeat me, you have a 1 in a million chance of not having it. Finished. Abarai Renji turned to look at Lin Yway. And you, in the present world, once defeated me. Now, try again. Also let me see what progress you have made during this time. You can also use your Zanpakuto to tell me what gave you the confidence to rescue Rukia. Hey, so, this is all your strength. Lin Yway hasn't spoken yet. Kurosaki Ichigo, who was smashed into the wall, suddenly spoke. Abarai Renji turned his head and looked over. In the dark hole in the wall, Kurosaki Ichigo walked out slowly carrying Zanpakuto's Zangetsu on his shoulders. Totally useless. There was a smear of blood on his forehead. But there was no flinch on Kurosaki Ichigo's face. Thank you so much. If there are 11 guys of your level, I think it can still be dealt with. Quote. Abarai Renji wanted to reprimand subconsciously. But he controlled himself and did not speak out the words of scolding. Instead, there was a surge of excitement on his face. That's it. Don't give up, beat me. Only by defeating me can you prove that you are stronger than me. More likely to save Rukia. But on the lips, Abarai Renji cursed. You fool. But, even he himself doesn't know. This sentence, in the end, is ignorant and fearless, but Kurosaki Ichigo who still wants to save Rukia. Still the same self who gave up early. After saying those words to Abarai Renji, Kurosaki Ichigo's breathing was still heavy. It would be a lie to say that such an injury is fine. But there was something in Kurosaki Ichigo's heart that was struggling. Save Rukia, as well as protect Inoue them. If he loses, no one can stop Abarai Renji. Such belief supports this Kurosaki Ichigo. Even if his forehead kept bleeding, the blood slid down his face again and dripped on the ground. Even if the body has begun to shake slightly, he is still holding on. Inoue Orihime's eyes were full of concern. Are you okay? Ishida Ryu is going to be much more direct. He asked Kurosaki Ichigo directly. An injury of this degree is nothing at all. Kurosaki Ichigo looked at Abarai Renji firmly. There seemed to be no such thing as giving up in his eyes. After that, it's amazing. Such an injury can still stand up. Yamada Hanaduro, as a member of the 4th team, is good at healing. Although I didn't go to check Kurosaki Ichigo's injury carefully. But from the amount of bleeding, he can still judge that Kurosaki Ichigo's injury is really serious now. But even so, he could still stand up and choose to continue fighting. What kind of will is this? Kurosaki Ichigo himself knows his situation. In fact, the injury on his forehead had already blurred his vision. Even the position of Abarai Renji is somewhat unclear. Humph, the hope that had just risen in Abarai Renji's heart was instantly extinguished. He also saw Kurosaki Ichigo's body shaking. The feeling of seeing hope and letting hope be shattered is undoubtedly more desperate than being in the abyss all the time. He waved the Zabumaru in his hand as if venting. It's hard for you to stand up. What else to say to save Rukia? If Rukia hadn't met you, she will definitely not become what she is now. When, accompanied by thick smoke, there was a crisp sound of metal clashing from Kurosaki Ichigo's position. Is it blocked? Ishida Ryu leaned forward vigorously, wanting to see the situation in the smoke. In the situation just now, he couldn't help but want to help Kurosaki Ichigo. Sato Yasutora also clenched his fists. If it weren't for the promise between men, I'm afraid he couldn't help but help Kurosaki Ichigo already. His purpose of coming to Soul Society was never to save anyone. It was purely to protect Kurosaki Ichigo. Kurosaki Ichigo, do you need me to save you now? Inoue Orihime's eyes also became sad. She's never been the type to take pleasure in combat. Being able to come to the Soul Society is more about helping Kurosaki Ichigo. Even when she needs to fight, Inoue Orihime's heart is also always afraid. Just to be able to catch up with Kurosaki Ichigo's footsteps. She will force herself to come to today bit by bit. Kurosaki Ichigo, are you going to die? Is there anybody? Can someone save Kurosaki Ichigo? Inoue Orihime cried out in his heart. But she found out. At this time, the person she could think of was actually Lin Yway. Inoue Orihime immediately looked at where Lin Yway was just now. She was surprised to find out. In that position, Lin Yway was no longer there. Where did Fi go? Inoue Orihime's voice sounded like a ripple in a calm lake. Right, where's Iki? The rest of the people also found out that Lin Yway had disappeared. They quickly looked at the cloud of smoke with expectant eyes. The smoke slowly dissipated. Kurosaki Ichigo was already crouching on the ground. From his slightly trembling body, it can be seen that his whole body has suffered huge injuries. And in front of him, Lin Yway is holding Abarai Renji's Zabumaru with Fangwa. Yo, Abarai Renji, let me show you how much progress I have made. Exclamation mark quote. Kurosaki Ichigo reluctantly called Lin Yway's name. Lin Yway didn't look back. He stared seriously at Abarai Renji in front of him. His mouth was talking to Kurosaki Ichigo. Ichigo, it's up to you to defeat Abarai Renji. I can only buy you some time, I can't do anything else. You recover quickly. Think carefully about how to fight him. Trust your Zanpakuto. Finished. Lin Yway rushed directly towards Abarai Renji. Certainly, he didn't use his true strength. Just controlling the use of one's spiritual power is only under Abarai Renji Reiatsu. In this way, he can barely withstand the attack of Abarai Renji without revealing his true experience. Although the results of doing so, that is, when Lin Yway was fighting, he seemed to be suppressed by Abarai Renji all the time. You can barely have the ability to resist, but you can't fight back. The entire battle can be described in one word. Danger surrounds us. After seeing that it was Lin Yway who helped Kurosaki Ichigo block Abarai Renji's attack that was enough to put Kurosaki Ichigo in danger, Ishida Ryu and others were a little relieved. But they found out. Even Lin Yway is no match for Abarai Renji. Everyone raised their hearts again. Ishida Ryu is ready to summon his own bow to help Lin Yway relieve some stress. To say, among all the people present, who is most stressed? It's not actually Lin Yway, who looks like he could be defeated at any moment, but Kurosaki Ichigo. Regardless of Abarai Renji's ability to prove, there is no way for him to rescue Rukia. Or Lin Yway is forcing himself to face an invincible enemy just to buy him time. All made Kurosaki Ichigo very anxious. How to do? Think quickly. He quickly thought about what to do. By the side of Ishida Ryu and others, Yamada Hanadoro wrapped her head in her hands uncontrollably. No. No way. After all, he is an enemy at the level of the vice captain. If this continues, Mr. Lin-Jun will definitely fail. Compared to other people's frustration, Abarai Renji, who was fighting Lin Yway, had a different feeling. Lin Yway, although your strength is still not as good as mine, but compared to the time in this world, it has indeed been enhanced a lot. Even 780 can block my attack, but it's useless. When you exhaust your strength and spiritual power, you will still be defeated by me. Or, you hope to rely on that Kurosaki Ichigo. It's ridiculous. With the gap between him and me, even if he is given a few more days, he will not be able to defeat me. Yes, I am indeed inferior to you. But I still won't choose to give up. Could it be that just because the enemy is stronger, do you have to choose to give up? I trust Kurosaki Ichigo, whether it's his ability to rescue Rukia, or his ability to defeat you. All of this, I believe he can do it. Lin Yway said loudly. What he said, on the one hand, it's cheering up Kurosaki Ichigo. On the other hand, it is also stimulating Abarai Renji. Abarai Renji, didn't he just choose to give up the lightness? Really? After hearing Lin Yway's words, Abarai Renji paused for a moment. He was indeed stimulated by these words. But after being stimulated, it turned from embarrassment into anger. Stop talking such useless nonsense. If not for Kurosaki Ichigo. If he hadn't taken away Rukia's abilities, Rukia would have been convicted of such a serious crime. It's all his fault. It's all because of Kurosaki Ichigo, Rukia is going to be executed. Abarai Renji's voice already had a hint of crying. He even thought that if possible, he would rather allow himself to bear these sins instead of Rukia. But it's impossible. Impossible. In the current situation, Rukia, die. Listening to the conversation between Abarai Renji and Lin Yway, Kurosaki Ichigo became more determined in his heart. He yelled, I never said that I wanted to save Rukia. What I thought was always, I must save her. What you said. I know all about it. That's why I have to save her, don't I? Finished. Kurosaki Ichigo's mind was filled with the teachings of Urahara Kazuki during those 5 days against Urahara Kazuki. Listen, for almost all attacks, the more powerful they are, the more they are limited by the number of attacks. It's like a pistol has 6 bullets, but a missile can only fire 1 at a time. The number of possible consecutive attacks is certain. Even if the number of times is the same, it doesn't matter. When the battle is deadlocked, the enemy will only use the maximum number of attacks to attack. As long as you see through the number of times, there will naturally be gaps. The most important thing is that in the last continuous attack, from the moment it is about to continue to the next continuous attack, the enemy at that time will become defenseless. Kurosaki Ichigo's spirit gradually began to recover. He suddenly yelled at Lin Yway. I see. It's 3 times. Ikki. The gap attacked him as he retracted the Zanpakuto. After Zabumaru stretches 3 times, it must be retracted. Kurosaki Ichigo knew it in his heart. Shouting these words will inevitably make Abarai Renji vigilant. But, if Lin Yway doesn't know about these things, the result will only be worse. It's better to say it directly. Even if the attack failed, at least Lin Yway could raise his vigilance. Next time, Shaw will look for a chance. Lin Yway felt helpless. When he fought Abarai Renji for the first time, he had already noticed that Abarai Renji had only controlled Zabumaru 3 times now. But he has never been targeting this weakness. Because, if he targets this point, Abarai Renji will probably fail very quickly. No pressure. Kurosaki Ichigo with the kind of injury he has now would have snapped that tight string. So, the crescent sky is soaring, he won't be able to use it. What choice will Abarai Renji make after being defeated by Lin Yway? Is to choose to do nothing. Or do you still think that Kurosaki Ichigo is incapable of saving Rukia and choose to continue fighting against them? This kind of risk, Lin Yway doesn't like to take it. And, compared to Kurosaki Ichigo's well-documented backstage, if Lin Yway is really targeted by Team Zero, he will really be captured and become the new Soul King. Even Kurosaki Ichigo, who is full of all kinds of intertwined and connected people, was almost taken away by Team Zero once as the Soul King. So, after Kurosaki Ichigo yelled that reminder, Lin Yway still didn't choose to take advantage of this time to act. Wait until Zabumaru recovers from the retracted state. When it was time to start stretching again, Abarai Renji said. Really, your fighting instincts are much stronger than Kurosaki Ichigo's. If it's him, if he wants to win against me, he won't even have a 10,000th chance. Talking, Abarai Renji gave Kurosaki Ichigo a disdainful look. It's right to strike while taking advantage of the gap between continuous attacks. However, this is all based on the degree of deadlock. If the gap between the two is too large, even if they find this gap, they will still be dodged because of their lack of strength or slow speed. This is the difference in strength. Kurosaki Ichigo froze for a moment. The gap in strength. He seemed to be back to that night again. The night Rukia was taken away, defeated by Abarai Renji, then watched Rukia give up resistance in order to protect herself. Now, how similar it is to that time. It's just that the person has been replaced by Lin Yway. Lin Yway stood up to protect himself, and fought with Abarai Renji, who even he could not defeat. And what about myself? Can I just watch it again? Abarai Renji raised the Zanpakuto in his hand again. Do you understand now? Kurosaki Ichigo, you can't save Rukia. When he said these words, a Sankai showed warmth in Renji's eyes. But he quickly restrained his emotions. It's like just a newborn sheep, open yourself. At this moment, Abarai Renji finally understood why Rukia was always expressionless at that time. Turn out to be. This is despair. Because of despair, I dare not have any emotions. I'm afraid that even a second of emotions will completely collapse myself. Rukia, I'm sorry. Abarai Renji raised Zanpakuto violently and slashed towards Lin Yway. It's all over. What? Boom. White smoke billowed in the air. No one could see what happened in the white smoke. But judging from the reiatsu that suddenly surged on Abarai Renji's body at that moment, Lin Yway. I'm afraid I'm going to lose. Is this the true strength of the vice captain? In that case, Miss Rukia. Yamada Hanadoro looked at the cloud of smoke with a bit of fear in his eyes. Reality unfolded bloody in front of him. But he could only squeeze his fist tightly and choose to accept. But the unwillingness in his heart made him feel uncomfortable in his chest. A desire to cry was stuck in his throat. Not being able to cry out is even more uncomfortable than crying out. Kurosaki Ichigo woke up with a start. He looked at the cloud of white smoke, and a look of annoyance flashed in his eyes. It's the same again. It's the same scene again. Could it be that I, Kurosaki Ichigo, really can't protect my friends? I'm so disappointed, Mr. Kurosaki. From your sword, all I see is fear. Afraid of being hit when dodging, afraid of being cut when attacking. Other side. Even when he wanted to protect the other party, he was afraid that he would die. What your sword conveys to me is endless fear. It shouldn't be like this. Fighting does not require fear. This will not help you. When dodging, think that I will not be cut by you. When you want to protect others, think that I will not let you die. When you attack, you want to slash hard. See it. My sword is conveying my determination to kill you. Quote. Ichigo, trust your Zanpakuto. The words of Urahara Kazuki and Lin Yway kept flashing in Kurosaki Ichigo's heart. He looked down at the Zangetsu in his hand. The body of Zangetsu's sword was shining with blue spiritual light. The entire blade was trembling slightly. Like whining. Is that so? I know. Kurosaki Ichigo whispered to Zangetsu. It was as if he heard what Zanpakuto was saying to him. Holding the Zanpakuto high, the huge Reiatsu hovers over the blade. Abarai Renji, this time, I will not lose to you again. He yelled at Bayan. The white smoke gradually dissipated. Abarai Renji stood there intact. And Lin Yway was already lying on the ground. With that knife, Lin Yway lost to Abarai Renji. Abarai Renji turned to look at Kurosaki Ichigo. He froze for a moment. It's all like this, and you still want to fight me? Then I will let you face reality. Shouting, Abarai Renji charged directly at Kurosaki Ichigo. When he rushed to Kurosaki Ichigo's side, Lin Yway, who was lying on the ground as if he had fallen into a coma, carefully opened one eye. I was relieved when I saw that no one was paying attention to me. It's a tiring job to play weak. After muttering, Lin Yway, who should have been seriously injured, turned himself on the ground as if he was not injured at all. He didn't stop until he could see Kurosaki Ichigo and Abarai Renji fighting. Well, in this way, we can paddle and watch the theater in an above-board manner. When Abarai Renji rushed in front of Kurosaki Ichigo, Kurosaki Ichigo dodges Abarai Renji's attack quickly. The light on Zangetsu instantly turned into a huge crescent moon. Flew out with Kurosaki Ichigo's attack. Puff! The knife cut across Abarai Renji's body. Cut off the headband he used to tie his hair. Also crossed. Ichigo, can't you just watch it? Lin Yway quickly got up from the ground. Just a moment ago, Kurosaki Ichigo's unnamed crescent moon was about to slash across his waist. Ikki, are you okay? Seeing Lin Yway so alive and kicking, Kurosaki Ichigo instantly became happy. Kurosaki Ichigo would blame himself if he hurt his friend in order to protect him. Seeing that he had been exposed, Lin Yway couldn't continue pretending. I have to say, well, the Soul Society has a lot more spiritual seeds than the present world, so I can recover faster. Finished. Lin Yway looked at Abarai Renji, who was leaning on a ruined wall. At this time, Abarai Renji already has disheveled hair. Kurosaki Ichigo's attack caused a lot of damage to him. However, what hurt Abarai Renji the most was not the physical injury, but spiritually. Maybe it was the appearance of the Kurosaki family that stimulated him. Abarai Renji's mind began to flash the story of him and Rukia. He spoke slowly. Zangetsu in Kurosaki Ichigo's hand also slowly lowered. Only after knowing the stories of Abarai Renji and Rukia Kuchiki, can we know why he is the most uncomfortable person during the period when Rukia is about to be executed. Finish the story. Abarai Renji braced himself with his palms so that he would not fall. Blood was constantly oozing from his face and body. Blood dripped onto the ground. But he didn't seem to feel it. Really, the character of the wild dog has been carved into the bone. I hate myself. Quote, he stood up with difficulty. I can only yell at the stars, but I don't have the guts to try to jump up and grab it. He walked up to Kurosaki Ichigo step by step like this, and grabbed Kurosaki Ichigo by the collar. It's because of you that Rukia was imprisoned in the Palace of Confessions. I was thinking like this, repeatedly escaping in my heart. But, not so. It's because I didn't keep Rukia. I shouldn't have told her to go to Kuchiki's house without wanting to hinder her. Because I thought Rukia could be happy. Because I am so convinced. Quote, Abarai Renji's body began to tremble slightly. He couldn't stand anymore. But even so, he still chose to face his own heart. He spoke out the words that had been suppressed in his heart for many years. In Kurosaki Ichigo, he saw hope. I saw the courage to never give up. He also wants, starting today, to be a new Abarai Renji. I want to surpass Captain Kuchiki. Since that day, I have been chasing him. I am working hard every day to exercise myself. But, in the end, I still haven't defeated him once. That person is too far away from me. I want to try my best to get Rukia back, but for me, there is still no way. Kurosaki, I know it's embarrassing, but I still have to ask you. Please be sure. Abarai Renji lowered his haughty head that he always showed in front of Kurosaki Ichigo. Please do save Rukia. At this moment, Abarai Renji finally admits reality. For so many years, he could only watch Rukia silently. Watching Rukia's figure gradually get farther and farther away from him. Become a nobleman, become a familiar stranger. Even when he heard that he was going to find Rukia in this world, Abarai Renji was so happy that he couldn't sleep for several days. Can imagine the embarrassment now. He finally chose a nasty way to face Rukia. Like a child in love. In order to attract the attention of the other party, he will always do some disgusting things. But the result is, it has become, and I will bring her back with my own hands, and accept the execution. Yeah, but at the very beginning, it was all for her own good. He obviously wanted her to be happy. Why did it become like this? Abarai Renji may already have the answer in his heart. When he happily made Rukia the adopted daughter of the Kuchiki family, Rukia shed tears as if it was still yesterday. He just didn't want to, and didn't dare to face it. Turn out to be, what Rukia wanted was never a noble status, nor a luxurious life. All she wants is family. Abarai Renji watched as Kurosaki Ichigo was never his opponent. Until the belief in my heart is getting stronger and stronger. Until after defeating oneself, I finally opened my heart completely. Bravely faced that cowardly self. With a deep sigh, Kurosaki Ichigo agreed to Abarai Renji. Boom. After hearing Kurosaki Ichigo's answer, Abarai Renji finally couldn't hold it anymore. He fell directly to the ground. In a trance, Abarai Renji seemed to see a darkness. In the darkness, a young man whose face could not be seen was sitting in the corner. In front of him was a bonfire that was about to go out. Seeing Abarai Renji, the teenager stood up excitedly. You finally came. What? Abarai Renji was a little dazed. Who are you? He asked. But the boy didn't seem to hear his words at all. You finally came. Come quickly, if you don't come again, the fire will be extinguished. Quote. At a loss, he followed the boy to the campfire. Only then did Abarai Renji find out. This bonfire is not a real flame. In that flame, a picture is burning. It was when Rukia was a child, holding that flower in her hand, with a smile on her face. The setting sun sprinkled on the water and reflected on her face. The heartbeat at that moment is like this moment. The boy was still talking to himself. Look, the fire is almost out. Because she doesn't smile anymore. If you don't come again, maybe this fire will really go out. Quote. Abarai Renji stared blankly at the flame, watching Rukia's smile fade into the flames. He suddenly slapped himself. What? I already know. I will not let this fire go out again. Quote. Then you have to work hard, me. The boy slowly raised his head. With the bonfire starting to burn again, Abarai Renji saw his face clearly. It was himself in his youth. Watch Abarai Renji fall. Kurosaki Ichigo, who has been holding on for a long time, finally reached the limit. He slowly let go of Zanpakuto's hand. Clang. With the sound of Zanpakuto falling to the ground, Kurosaki Ichigo also fell directly beside Abarai Renji. Lin Yway walked over slowly. While supporting Kurosaki Ichigo, he also instantly picked up the attributes dropped by Abarai Renji. This time, Abarai Renji drops more attributes than he would drop if he was defeated in this world. This further confirmed Lin Yway's guess. The number of attributes picked up is also determined according to how much spiritual power the person who dropped the attributes used before being defeated. It's like Kurosaki Ichigo. In terms of spiritual power, he should be the strongest. But most of the spiritual power is suppressed by the power of the Quincy Master, and there is not much spiritual power that he can use by himself. Therefore, when Kurosaki Ichigo was defeated, Lin Yway picked up attributes but not many. Only occasionally when luck is good, Kurosaki Ichigo will drop the escaped spiritual power, and at that time the increased attributes will be more. Someone is coming. Ishida Ryu and others have also approached. Yamada Hanadoro sensed it a little, and quickly reminded everyone. Everyone was about to leave immediately with Kurosaki Ichigo. And many more. Before leaving, Lin Yway suddenly called out. When everyone looked at him, he pointed to Abarai Renji on the ground. Take him with you. What? He is not. Take it. Hearing Lin Yui's words, Shiba Ganju immediately wanted to object. But before he finished speaking, Lin Yway repeated what he had just said very forcefully. Seeing Lin Yui's eyes, Shiba Ganju suddenly felt afraid to look at him for some reason. His lips twitched twice, but he still turned his head away. Hey, let's go. If you want to take it with you. Quote. Sato Yasutora hugged Kurosaki Ichigo and Lin Yway hugged Abarai Renji before leaving the scene. Following Yamada Hanadoro, the crowd quickly returned to the waterway. Briefly healed Kurosaki Ichigo and Abarai Renji for their injuries. Inoue Orihime began the final healing treatment on the two. Taking advantage of this time, Shanshin Hanadoro came to Lin Yui's side. Lin-jun, let me check it too. For Lin Yway, after receiving Abarai Renji's attack, he was able to stand up again as if he hadn't been injured at all. Yamada Hanadoro is curious. Even Kurosaki Ichigo struggled against Abarai Renji's attack. Why, Lin Yway is so relaxed? Could it be that? Is Lin-jun actually stronger than Mr. Kurosaki? No, I'm fine. Since childhood, my self-healing ability has been very strong. That little injury should be healed by now. Quote. Lin Yway patted his chest, expressing that he is healthy now. Actually, Lin Yway was completely unharmed during the fight against Abarai Renji. Even if his body had been scratched by the stone thrown by Abarai Renji, there were small wounds on his body. Also under the effect of high-speed regeneration, it has long been invisible. Even the scars on his face caused by breaking through the knife net can no longer be seen. Rejected by Lin Yway, Yamada Hanadoro did not continue to press for anything. In the water channel, it gradually stagnated. Everyone also took advantage of this time to make some adjustments. When Kurosaki Ichigo wakes up, the fight will continue. Until Rukia is rescued. Wait until Kiraiziru and others come to this square. There is only a ruined wall left here. The two puddles of blood that have not yet dried up on the ground can prove that someone fought here not long ago. Hinamori Momo looked a little lonely. Back then, she, Kiraiziru and Abarai Renji were students of the same spiritual arts academy. Now they have gradually become the vice-captains of Guti 13th Division. Why would Abarai Renji do this? Hinamori Momo also has the badge of the vice-captain that Abarai Renji kept in his room. Ask for flowers. Under the bright 6 is a tune flower. This is the team flower of the 6th Division. It represents nobility and rationality, and it corresponds to the noble commander of the 6th Division. Just checked it out. The deputy captains found no clues. They can only temporarily return to the place where they used to hold meetings. Not for a while. The vice-captains have received special wartime orders. Firstly, Adjutant Shu and above adjutants carry Zanpakuto in the court. Second, allow Zanpakuto to be fully liberated in time of war. The seat officer here does not refer to the title of the third seat like Madarei Makaku. In the normal 13th division of Guti, the number of seats in the inner circle starts from 3. This is because the captain is the first seat by default, and the vice-captain is the second seat. Therefore, the so-called allowing adjutants and above adjutants refers to the captain and deputy captain. Because the captain and vice-captain are too powerful, usually in the inner court of Jingling Court, they are prohibited from carrying Zanpakuto. Even if they are allowed to carry Zanpakuto due to some special circumstances. Nor will full liberation be allowed. The so-called full liberation refers to Bankai. Of course, this is only for the captain and vice-captain positions. Like Madarei Makaku, who obviously has the ability of Bankai, but he is not the captain or vice-captain, so there is no limit. It's just that he keeps hiding himself in order not to let himself be found out that he has the ability of Bankai, so he is asked to leave the 11th team and become the vice-captain of another team. Today's Gote 13th Squad Purification Team, after Shiba Kaien's death, has never had a vice-captain. Hear the news of the wartime special order. All the vice captains showed a little nervousness on their faces. Even the air seems to be filled with a bit of bloody smell. Anyone who can become the deputy captain does not understand what the so-called wartime special orders represent. This means that this trip accident has been able to shake the foundation of the entire jingling court. After hearing the news, Hinamori Momo sat silently in the room with his head bowed. Her character is soft and simple. I never liked those things about fighting and killing. If possible, what she wants more is to live in peace forever. Hinamori Momo couldn't figure it out. Why did it become the current situation? Her heart was very chaotic. Just now, Hinamori Momo's childhood friend, Hitsugaya Toshiro, captain of the Juban team, reminds her. Let her be careful of Ichimaru Jin, the captain of the third team. Thinking of those words, Hinamori Momo couldn't help clenching his fists. She really cared. The one who clashed with Ichimaru Jin was none other than Eisen Sosuke, the captain of the 5th squad that Hinamori Momo admired the most. Captain Eisen had a fight with Ichimaru Jin before, and Hinamori Momo also knew about it. Her heart Chunin couldn't help worrying about Eisen Sosuke. A gentle person like Captain Eisen wouldn't think of guarding against his own people as companions, right? The time came late at night. Hinamori Momo finally made up her mind. She is going to tell Captain Eisen what Hitsugaya Toshiro said. Let Captain Eisen watch out for Ichimaru Jin. Boom boom boom. Eisen Sosuke was writing official documents in the room wearing a coat. There was a sudden knock on the door. He turned his head gently and looked towards the door. What's the matter? Has something happened? Hinamori. Quote. After hearing Eisen's answer, Hinamori Momo opened the door. Her face flushed slightly. Hinamori Momo does this every time I see Eisen. She is always fantasizing. When will I be able to become a gentle person like Captain Eisen? Sorry, Eisen is completely free from the annoyance caused by being disturbed late at night. Instead, he asked with great concern. What's up so late? Just speak up if you have something to say. Quote. The more gentle Eisen is, the more guilty Hinamori Momo feels. Obviously I disturbed Captain Eisen's rest, but in the end I still need Captain Eisen to comfort me. It's really inappropriate. Just thinking of Ichimaru Jin. Especially his smile that doesn't look like a good person, Hinamori Momo is more concerned about such a gentle Captain Eisen. Can you talk to me in detail? For the next time, Hinamori Momo told Eisen what Toshiro had said to her during the day. Talked about some other things. Until Hinamori Momo falls asleep. Eisen Sosuke suddenly changed into the clothes for going out, and opened the door of his room. The speed is a bit too fast. He glanced at the sky and said silently. That's it 3.0 inches. Eisen Sosuke looked at Tusen Kanami who was standing in front of his room, and nodded to him. Go and open the crack in Rukongai. Before we leave, it's time to liven up the place too. Thousands of years ago, the Soul Society often had Hueco Mundo's Manos Grande invading, but it's not happening anymore. Tusen. 17. Tusen Kanami bowed his head like a devout believer. For justice, in his heart, Tusen Kanami chose to follow Eisen Sosuke. Even if this justice may cause some crimes before it comes, he is willing to follow Eisen. Because strength is the real justice. He took a step. Stepping on the pair of pure white leather boots that only he would wear in the entire jingling court, he left the door of Eisen's room. Looking at the back of Tusen Kanami, Eisen suddenly laughed. He has always been a cautious and careful person. When Tusen Kanami followed him, he once said that he wanted to avenge his friends, so he needed strength. But, in Eisen's eyes, it's not like that at all. Tusen Kanami, what he wants is never force, but status. Even after becoming the captain of Gotei's 13th division, the shoes he wears are different from others. Clothing has always been the most external expression of a person. This point is very clear to Eisen who often pretends to be himself. For example, Ichimaru Jin and the others, even if they became the captain, never put on this kind of high-end shoes. Instead, they continued to look for the straw sandals that residents of Rukongai would wear. So Eisen trusts Ichimaru Jin. But Tusen Kanami. But he said he wanted to avenge his friend, turned around, but in order to prove his status, he changed into a pair of shoes that ordinary people are not qualified to wear. Forget it, it's a good tool now. Eisen muttered silently in his heart. Turn around and walk towards Central 46. It is not difficult to reopen the connection between Rukongai and Hawako Mundo. But if they want to leave, they need to see Hawako Mundo's negation in the Garden of Serenity. This has to require the right of Central 46 to help. The next day, when Hinamori Momo woke up, he was a little shy to find that he had fallen asleep unknowingly. Captain Eisen called Eisen, but did not answer her. Hinamori Momo rushed out of the room. She kept running and jumping on the roof. It's bad, it's going to be late. That way, you shouldn't be late. When she passed the battlefield yesterday, climbed the stairs, and passed a small square, Hinamori Momo suddenly froze. What? The vice captains nearby were all attracted by Hinamori Momo's cry. After coming over, they found Hinamori Momo staring blankly at the height of the wall ahead. All also raised their heads and looked at the past. No. Impossible. Hiraezuru's eyes widened in shock. On that wall, it turned out to be Aizen's corpse impaled on it by his own Zanpakuto. Looking at Aizen's body, Hinamori Momo felt like the world was falling apart. She adores Eisen that much. But I didn't expect it. There will be such a day. See Aizen's dead body with your own eyes. 8.888. Obviously last night, Captain Eisen still allowed himself to look at him so gently. Why did it become like this? On that corpse, Aizen's gentle smile seemed to be still yesterday. Hinamori Momo's mentality is broken. Her eyes were glazed, and the scenes of Eisen Sosuke speaking softly to her in the past appeared in front of her eyes one after another. In order to be closer to Eisen Sosuke. Like Eisen, Hinamori Momo fell in love with reading and painting. She has read every book Eisen has read. But now, Captain Eisen is dead. What's the matter? It's so noisy in the early morning. Ichimaru Jin suddenly appeared behind the crowd. Hearing this voice, Hinamori Momo looked up instantly. Oh, this is a big deal. Ichimaru Jin's tone of watching the excitement is not a big deal. No matter how you hear it, it makes people feel a little annoying. Hinamori Momo's anger reached its peak at this moment. The words that Hitsugaya Toshiro said to her yesterday came to her mind. You have to pay attention. You have to pay attention to the third team. When Eisen goes out alone. Quote, looking at Ichimaru Jin's smiling face. Hinamori Momo's eyes were filled with sparkling tears. Regret kept lingering in her heart. If it wasn't for falling asleep. If it wasn't because I didn't protect Captain Eisen. Maybe Captain Eisen wouldn't die. Captain Eisen is such a gentle person. In the Gote 13th Division, the only enemy is Ichimaru Jin. Hinamori Momo's expression instantly became murderous. You did it. With tears in her eyes, she instantly pulled out Zanpakuto and rushed towards Ichimaru Jin. In Hinamori Momo's mind, there is only one thought left to avenge Eisen. Even if she may not be Ichimaru Jin's opponent, she will not give up. But Ichimaru Jin didn't move, still smiling. Hiraizuru, who was standing in the crowd, suddenly changed his face. As the vice captain of Ichimaru Jin, he is naturally familiar with Ichimaru Jin himself. Although Ichimaru Jin didn't have any movement, he could feel the Reiatsu, Hiraizuru, who was starting to wave from him. Captain Ichimaru Jin, he wants to kill Hinamori Momo. When the two Zanpakuto collided together, Hiraizuru had already appeared in front of Ichimaru Jin instantly with Shunpo. He blocked Hinamori Momo's attack on Ichimaru Jin, and also blocked Reiatsu, who Ichimaru Jin was trying to kill Hinamori Momo. However, Hiraizuru's complexion was not very good for blocking Reiatsu, who had not completely dissipated Ichimaru Jin. The three of them studied together at the Spiritual Arts Academy back then. Now, Abarai Renji threw down his adjutant badge, and he didn't know where he went. There is only Hinamori Momo left. Hiraizuru doesn't want their trio and ends up with just herself. However, in the eyes of Hinamori Momo, who is full of anger and revenge, Hiraizuru's painstaking efforts have betrayed their friendship. She looked at Ichimaru Jin's more arrogant smile behind Hiraizuru, and the anger in her heart grew stronger. Quote, Why do you want to? Hiraizuru bears Reiatsu from Ichimaru Jin behind him, and Reiatsu from Hinamori Momo in front. In order not to hurt Hinamori Momo, he even took over all the Reiatsu from Ichimaru Jin. Such pressure made his expression look a little scary. And because behind him is Ichimaru Jin, who is his captain. Kira has no way to tell Hinamori Momo now, if he doesn't come out to stop him, what will happen to Hinamori Momo? He could only force himself to explain his identity in a cold and heartless voice, in order to hope that Ichimaru Jin can give up the idea of Hinamori Momo. I'm the vice captain of the 3rd squad. No matter what your reasons are, I will not allow you to draw your sword at our captain. Quote. Hearing Kira Izuru's words, Ichimaru Jin finally no longer has the idea of doing anything to Hinamori Momo. In his heart, except for Rengoku, there is no one who cannot be killed. As long as you can protect Rengoku well, everyone is irrelevant. Seeing that Ichimaru Jin was about to leave, Hinamori Momo was in a hurry. She hurried to get past Kira Izuru. But Kira Izuru held her Zanpakuto once again, and quietly shook his head at Hinamori Momo. But, looking at the back of Ichimaru Jin going further and further away, I thought that Captain Aizen's body was still nailed to the wall. Hinamori Momo's heart was no longer calm. Get out of the way, please, Kira. I cannot do it. How much Kira Izuru wanted to tell Hinamori Momo the truth. But, now that Ichimaru Jin hasn't gone far, he can't say it. Ichimaru Jin's back is getting further and further away. Hinamori Momo finally stopped hesitating. If she loses this opportunity, she wonders if she will have the chance to avenge Captain Eisen herself. Even though she may not be Ichimaru Jin's opponent, she will never back down. It's all for Captain Eisen. Bloom, Fame, look at Hinamori Momo who doesn't listen to any persuasion. Kira Izuru finally had a decision in her heart. At this time, I had to defeat Hinamori Momo first. Head up, Wabisuke, in the empty Vice Admiral Zanpakuto Shikai. Kira Izuru thought heavily and Hinamori Momo slashed. Ding! Hitsugaya Toshiro suddenly appeared, blocked Kira Izuru's attack with Zanpakuto Hiranmaru on his back. Neither of you move. Hitsugaya. Hinamori Momo, who was already on top, didn't understand. Why didn't even Xiaobai help himself? Hitsugaya Toshiro didn't dare to look into Hinamori Momo's eyes anymore. Arrest them both. Wait until both are contained. Hitsugaya Toshiro just stood up. Hinamori, is this the time for swords to meet? Don't you think Captain Eisen should be moved from there first? Quote. These words finally made Hinamori Momo calm down again. I'll report to the captain. Detain the two of them first and take them away immediately. Quote. After giving orders to the other vice captains, Hitsugaya Toshiro looked up at Aizen's body. In the past, Aizen's good-natured personality made him famous in the entire Gotei 13th Division. His popularity has always been good. A trace of pity for Eisen flashed in Hitsugaya Toshiro's eyes. But he undoubtedly understands better that at this moment, it shouldn't be the time for internal strife. Everyone should fight against the travel disaster together. Not for a while, only Hitsugaya Toshiro and Ichimaru Jin were left. Ichimaru Jin turned to look at Hitsugaya Toshiro. I'm so sorry, Captain of the 10th Division. Even my subordinates have caused you trouble. Quote. Hitsugaya Toshiro thought of the reiatsu that had just emanated from Ichimaru Jin. Suppress the anger in my heart. Ichimaru. Kr. Just. To sand off Hinamori, right. This should have been an interrogative sentence, but Hitsugaya Toshiro said it with certainty. A gust of wind suddenly blew. The feathers on the two of them fluttered as they blew. Ichimaru Jin squinted his eyes. His hand had already made a gesture ready to summon Shinso. Oh, what are you talking about? I'm going to speak up now. If anything happens to Wesen, I will kill you. Talking. Hitsugaya Toshiro looked at Ichimaru Jin. His face was full of killing intent. Hinamori Momo, but his friend who played with him since he was a child. Even Hitsugaya Toshiro and Hinamori Momo had nicknames for each other when they were young. Hinamori Momo will call Hitsugaya Toshiro, Little White, Little Lion Lang. And Hitsugaya Toshiro would also call Hinamori Momo a bedwetting peach. The relationship between the two is very close. There was no expression change on Ichimaru Jin's face. It's just that there seemed to be a little more provocation in his jumping tone. That's really scary. Then you have to be careful, don't let people get close to her. For people other than Rengoku. This is already the biggest reminder of what Ichimaru Jin can do. The bad guy in his mouth was never himself. 2. That whom Hinamori Momo has always admired, Eisen Sosuke. In the waterway, after a night of rest, Both Kurosaki Ichigo and Abarai Renji have regained all their strength. Unlike the original show, now with the help of Inoue Orihime, not even a single wound can be seen on the bodies of the two. Instead of the original drama, after a night of treatment, Kurosaki Ichigo still has some wounds on his body. This is where Abarai Renji sat up slowly. Looking at the surrounding environment, I was a little dazed. You're awake. Lin Yway suddenly appeared. He also held a special nourishing and strengthening agent from Yamada Hanadoro in his hand. This is a potion unique to the 4th division. It is said to invigorate the weary. But the actual effect, can't say no. After taking this potion, Yamada Hanadoro was able to run slightly faster than Kurosaki Ichigo and Shiba Ganju. You are Lin Yway. Am I still alive? Lin Yway handed the special nourishing and strengthening agent to Abarai Renji, and sat down directly beside him. Eat it. This is what I managed to get from Yamada Hanadoro. There are not many of him. Is it such a surprise that you are still alive? Abarai Renji froze for a moment. Silently took the potion from Lin Yui's hand and ate it. What? 1.8 I thought I was going to die. After all, I caught Rukia with my own hands. Moreover, as the vice captain, I must have been the first to stop you. Quote. Lin Yway smiled. Not. If you are the vice captain, you should be the second. Quote. The second. Abarai Renji froze for a moment. Lin Yway nodded. Before you, I fought Katetsu Azain. Of course, it doesn't matter. The important thing is, you also want to save Rukia, right? Sure enough, Abarai Renji did not continue to ask about the outcome between Katetsu Azain and Lin Yway. After hearing Lin Yway's question, he fell silent again. Save Rukia. Lin Yway doesn't seem to need Abarai Renji's answer either. Just talking to himself. Actually, after hearing your story, all of us understand. You are just doing this because of low self-esteem. I have always chosen to escape, and have always let myself do what I think will make Rukia happy. But why didn't you turn it off? In fact, the happiest thing for Rukia is when she is with her friends. Quote. Abarai Renji chewed these 2 words slowly. He thought back to those days in Rukongai Inazuri district. Although not as powerful as it is now, Rukia back then. Really laughing all the time. Watch the expression on Abarai Renji's face. Lin Yway stood up suddenly. He held out his hand to Abarai Renji. Since you feel like you've done it before, well, let's start now. Start from this moment. Atone for that wrong self. Rescue Rukia yourself. This is the real purpose of Lin Yway must bring Abarai Renji. If you let him be there, what awaits him is only a prison. Although, the prison itself is a kind of protection for Rukia's childhood friend by Byakuya Kuchiki in order not to make Rukia more sad. But for Abarai Renji, it is undoubtedly a more tormented state. It will also make Abarai Renji misunderstand Kuchiki Baiza more. Might as well take Abarai Renji. Abarai Renji, who has faced his true heart, must also want to rescue Rukia himself. Looking at the palm in front of him, Abarai Renji was silent for a moment. At this moment, in front of Abarai Renji's eyes appeared again the flame that had gradually begun to extinguish. Years of low self-esteem made him tangled up again. Rescue Rukia. Rukia, she should not need me to save her. Say what, Abarai? Lin Yway hasn't spoken yet. Kurosaki Ichigo, who had also woken up, suddenly appeared. He had been hiding and listening for a while. It can be regarded as having heard and understood what was going on. As for Lin Yway's insistence on bringing him back, Kurosaki Ichigo thinks it's the right thing to do. After listening to those stories told by Abarai Renji, Kurosaki Ichigo's heart was also touched. They should have been friends for many years, childhood sweethearts who grew up together. In the end, it was only because of for your own good, decision that it turned into such an embarrassment. This made him keep admonishing himself in his heart. Never do this kind of thing. It's so stupid to help others make decisions in the name of, for your own good. So, Kurosaki Ichigo also wants to help Abarai Renji. Help Abarai Renji to open his heart. Abarai, since you want to rescue Rukia too, come with us. We must save Rukia. If we don't save Rukia, can't someone set her free? Abarai, we are the only ones who can save Rukia. 11 And, I think Rukia also wants you to save her. Definitely wouldn't want to see you like this. Quote, us. Abarai Renji thought of that ruthless look of Byakuya Kuchiki. Finally a decision has been made. Quote closing curly bracket exclamation mark. Then add me. Talking. He reached out and grabbed Lin Yway's hand. Then Lin Yway stood up from the ground with the strength in his hand. Looking at Abarai Renji who had come out of the decadence again, Lin Yway breathed a sigh of relief. Although he made the same decision as Kurosaki Ichigo, both hoped that Abarai Renji would join them in saving Rukia. But Kurosaki Ichigo simply wanted to make the relationship between Abarai Renji and Rukia Kuchiki less rigid. But what Lin Yway wanted was to be able to attract firepower with one more person. Then Rukia can be rescued faster. Breaking Aizen's plans is all that matters. Although compared to Kurosaki Ichigo, Lin Yway's ideas are a bit too despicable. They even use the relationship between Abarai Renji and Rukia Kuchiki to kidnap Abarai Renji in disguise. But this is reality. Come to a world where old silver coins are everywhere. If you didn't think about it, I'm afraid it would have been eaten long ago and there would be no bones left. As for Kurosaki Ichigo, he can be pure because behind him, there are people silently protecting him. Kurosaki Eisen, who has hidden his identity for many years, and Urahara Kazuki, who has cooperated with Kurosaki Eisen. These are the people behind Kurosaki Ichigo who helped him stop enough calculations. Not to mention, Ishida Ryu, Sado Yasutora and others, but because of Lin Yway, they gathered with Kurosaki Ichigo early. Yiguan Bansalufang, who was supposed to be Ishida Yuryu's opponent, has already been solved by Lin Yway. But Kyoraku Shunsui, who is Sado Yasutora's opponent, has yet to appear. I don't know whether he is resting and fishing in the outer court of Jingling Court, or has come to the inner court. If you meet Kyoraku Shunsui and Abarai Renji next, it will be a good fighting force. Everyone got ready. Run out of the waterway again. Looking at the square, there was no one there. Everyone hurried towards the stairs. With Abarai Renji leading the way. Lin Yway and the others also knew about the inner court layout of the Jingling Court. If you want to go to the Palace of Confessions, it should be faster. Soon, they climbed the stairs. In front of them is an empty road guarded by no one. Kurosaki Ichigo instantly became excited. Great. There is no one guarding here. Then, let's rush over with all our strength. Finished. He took the lead and ran towards the end. Hey hey hey, Kurosaki Ichigo. Shiba Griffin called out to Kurosaki Ichigo, seeing that he didn't intend to stop, he had no choice but to follow. Ishida Ryu did not forget to complain about Kurosaki Ichigo. Really, this is too reckless. Kurosaki, is he a stone head? Just took 2 steps. Lin Yway didn't speak. He remembered that in this place, he should meet Zaraki Kenpachi. This one is a battle between Kurosaki Ichigo and Zaraki Kenpachi. It will be the first time Kurosaki Ichigo's potential is squeezed into ultimate between life and death. Also, it was Zaraki Kenpachi who did what Unohana Retsu did to him. Suppress your own strength, just for the fun of fighting. Although the water was released in the end. But Zaraki Kenpachi found something more interesting. That is the continuous battle with Kurosaki Ichigo who is growing rapidly. Think here, Lin Yway took control of his own Reiatsu. Let your spiritual power be very weak in the perception of others. Probably similar to Inoue Orihime at this time. The current Inoue Orihime, because he resists fighting in his heart, is actually not very strong in spiritual power. It's just because of the effect of her full manifestation technique, in terms of functionality, it is unmatched by others. Soon, everyone felt a sense of depression in their hearts. This feeling is like a naturally weak animal seeing a natural enemy. It is a kind of fear and horror from the soul. Even their running speed has decreased a lot, but their physical exertion has become even greater. The air seemed to become thicker. Every time you lift your legs, you need to use 2 or 3 times as much strength as before. Finally, Inoue Orihime and Yamada Hanadoro were overwhelmed. The 2 fell directly to the ground. The dark circles under the eyes look like they haven't slept in days. The body seems to be rusted. No matter how commanded it is, it doesn't obey. Inoue, Hanadoro, Kurosaki Ichigo turned his head to see the 2, and called out their names. Yes, sorry, I really can't run anymore. Yamada Hanadoro timidly apologized. There was also a flash of guilt in Inoue Orihime's eyes. It turned out that he had become a burden to Kurosaki. Wait, seeing that Inoue Orihime couldn't run anymore, Lin Yway, who had adjusted his spiritual power to the same size as Inoue Orihime, quickly pretended to have no strength. He yelled for everyone to stop. Then he turned to look at Abarai Renji with a stern expression. Abarai, do you know what's going on here? Abarai Renji shook his head. There is a bit of vigilance in the eyes. I'm not sure. Such a Reiatsu, like a captain-level Reiatsu. But I don't know which captain's Reiatsu this is. Ring ring ring. Abarai Renji's voice just fell. Suddenly a bell sounded around him. Hearing this voice, Abarai Renji's expression changed drastically. This bell is the captain of the 11th Division, Zaraki Kenpachi. At the same time, a voice full of blood smelled. 8 people, who is it? Everyone looked around where the sound came from. On the roof of the house next to Abarai Renji, a man was sitting on it. He widened his eyes and kept looking at everyone. There was also a ferocious and rampant smile on the corner of his mouth. It seems that all the travel disasters are here. Really not bad. In this way, I can choose carefully. Abarai Renji, I didn't expect you to be in it. That's great. I really want to fight with you too. Talking, the man finally identified his target in the crowd. Kurosaki Ichigo, Abarai Renji, and Ryu Ishida. What's the matter, when do you want to see over there? Sudden, the man disappeared. What accompanied the disappearance of the man was that suffocating feeling. His voice sounded behind Kurosaki Ichigo. Kurosaki clicked. The next second, he felt a pain in his chest, as if he had been pierced. But looked down, but did not see the wound. This only shocked Kurosaki Ichigo even more. Was it just pierced, but no wound? Is it murderous? How could it be possible to do so with only murderous intent? Ring ring ring. The bell rang softly. The man has come very close behind Kurosaki Ichigo. You are the strongest among you. Kurosaki Ichigo, be careful. Abarai Renji yelled, alerting Kurosaki Ichigo. Kurosaki Ichigo hastily stepped aside. But the man did not take advantage of this opportunity to attack. He just laughed more wildly. Abarai Renji, don't worry. I am never afraid of a large number of opponents. I just hope that the strength of the opponent can satisfy me. Quote. Finished. The man introduced himself. I am the captain of the 11th squad, Zaraki Kenpachi. Your name is Kurosaki Ichigo, right? I'm here to fight you. Also, Abarai Renji, and that kid over there with glasses. I am very satisfied with your Reiatsu. Come, fight with me. Because Zaraki Kenpachi didn't see Madarame Makaku. So I don't know the information of Kurosaki Ichigo. But through his perception of the degree of danger, he still noticed that Kurosaki Ichigo is the strongest among these people. Again from the mouth of Abarai Renji. I heard Kurosaki Ichigo's name in the movie, so I said that. Zaraki Kenpachi just finished speaking. He suddenly turned his head to look at Lin Yway, who was hiding beside Shiba Griffin with a weak face. He stuck out his tongue and licked his lips. His face was full of excitement and enthusiasm. That kid, I almost missed you just now. I can feel it, the smell of danger. Come on, stop hiding yourself. As a man, of course you have to enjoy it in the fight. It's no fun to hide all the time. Quote, Zaraki Kenpachi was talking. From his shoulder popped a small pink-haired head. It is Kaolu 553 Bachenliu. Xiaojian, why are you so excited all of a sudden? What? Because I found several opponents that satisfied me. 4 people should be able to fight me for a long time. 4. Kusajishi Yakiru looked at Kurosaki Ichigo and others seriously. She counted a little. 1, 2, 3, hey, there is also the vice captain of the 6th team. 4 people, no wonder Xiaojian is so happy. The 4 people that Kusajishi Yakiru points to are Kurosaki Ichigo, Ishida Ryu, Abarai Renji, and Sato Yasutora. She calculated it completely according to the people who were still standing at this time. When Zaraki Kenpachi came close to everyone, the terrifying Reiatsu surged violently again. The pressure is even stronger than before. Let Shiba Griffin couldn't help but fall down too. Those who are still standing are the 4 that Kusajishi Yakiru pointed out. Zaraki Kenpachi explained, not the big guy who looks physically fit, but Reiatsu doesn't have much. It was the kid who hid in the crowd and fell down on purpose. Quote. Talking. Zaraki Kenpachi stretched out his hand and pointed to Lin Yway on the ground. He looked at Kurosaki Ichigo and others again. Can still stand in my Reiatsu. You all have a Reiatsu that I am satisfied with, and you are the ones who can fight me. Of course, except for the big man. Also, that kid, how long are you going to pretend? My perception of spiritual power is indeed not strong enough, otherwise I wouldn't be piercing these bells on my head. 18. -2. Zaraki Kenpachi laughed ferociously, as if thinking of something interesting. However, I survived the fight. No one is more sensitive to danger than me. Even if you restrain Reiatsu, it's useless. Your sense of danger is too strong. I can't wait to fight with you. It's rare for Xiaojian to be so excited. Seeing Zaraki Kenpachi so happy, Kusajishi Yakiru was also happy. With a light step on her foot, she came directly to Orihime and the others. Hey, if you fight with Xiaojian, we will let you go. And also, saying that, Kusajishi Yakiru has come to Lin Yui's side. She stretched out a finger and lightly poked Lin Yui's face. Get up and fight with Xiaojian. Little sword has already found you. Quote. Lin Yway couldn't help but rolled his eyes. He forgot. Zaraki Kenpachi's ability to detect spiritual power is extremely weak, and he relies entirely on his perception of danger to judge whether his opponent is worth a shot. In desperation, he had no choice but to stand up. Sato, you take care of the griffins. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.